All right, here we go. Original OC with you on the Original OC channel, fastest growing channel on YouTube. We're up to 37 subscribers. Help me get to 50 subscribers by subscribing today. And don't forget to like the stream. Let's get the show on the road. All right, enough of that. Enough of that. Let's crank up just a little bit of music. A little bit of music. Let's see what we got here. Cool. All right, we already got people in the chat. We've got Logan Hall. Logan Hall's with us. Rebel streaming Curly. Curly is on the Mookie channel right now. So if you want to see Curly on the Mookie channel, check him out. There's nothing wrong. Hey, it's Rebel streaming. Curlock is confident and secure enough to be able to run multiple streams. Curlock is dominating the airwaves. We've got Curly on the Mookie channel, OC on the OC channel. It's all good. Hey, look at this. The matriarch of the watch community is in the chat, Carolyn Martin. Hope you are doing well. Hope you're having a great Saturday. We've got Kyle D in the chat. Kyle D says, I've been watching Gordon Ramsay cook eggs for the past 6 hours, dissecting every single YouTube video on eggs he has ever made on the subject. And I can say this, Diego has it right. Wow. Okay. That's, even JB, who was on The Colony earlier, also gave the nod to Diego. So there you go. I think everybody should do a video cooking eggs, and don't be afraid. No one's going to get ridiculed for how you cook eggs. If you cook it the way you like it and the way you eat it, then there's nothing wrong with that. Hey, check it out. We got Mathis 2.0. Seek help, OC. Seek help. I need help. I don't need help with my egg cooking. I think I do a pretty good job with eggs. I don't do scrambled eggs all that often. I just don't prefer scrambled eggs. I like over medium or over hard. So that's just my preference. So I don't give a shit how people do scrambled eggs. I see these videos online where it's just like completely runny inside. Like these Korean chefs, they make it half goopy inside, then they slit it down the middle and it pours all over the plate. Like that's not for me. That to me is not cooked. Hey, Jim Jones is here. What's up, Jim Jones? Don't drink the pink Kool-Aid. What's up, OC? And we have Evan G. Evan G's in the chat says, all you need to cook eggs is Pyrex and a microwave. It's not hard, really? No, not the microwave. You need a pan. You need a stove. Unless, of course, you like your eggs hard-boiled, or you'd like your eggs poached. And some people prefer it that way. How do you like your eggs? Let me know in the chat. Your favorite, just one way. Just name your one favorite way that you like eggs prepared. For me, it's over medium. I throw a little salt, a little black pepper, a little cayenne pepper on it. And that's it. That's it. That's how I like my eggs, and I'm not apologizing. Scrabbled eggs are garbage. That's right. Scrabbled eggs are not good. Monopoly eggs are not good. I'm not a fan of chutes and ladder eggs. Yeah. None of those work for me. I like over medium. Over easy. Yeah, I would order over easy, but sometimes they don't cook it all the way. If I'm doing it myself, I can do it over easy or in between over easy and over medium, just the way I like it. But thank you, Carolyn. Kyle D says over easy or sunny side up for me. There you go. So you like runny yolk. I love yolk. What can I say? I love the taste of yolk. If I could have just full, double yolk eggs, I would do double yolk eggs. Guys, over 10 people watching this garbage. Thank you very much. And we have 10 upvotes. That's pretty amazing. Thank you so much. DT is in the chat. DT says, the new cooking channel. Hey, The Colony is becoming quickly the top cooking channel. Someone who we've not seen their cooking skills yet, but is often extremely spicy in the chat and spicy on the panel. It's my pleasure to welcome him to the show. Rose, what's up?
I'm here to tell you the egg talk has to stop. It has to stop. I can't, we can't, the controversy, like we have to end it now. We can talk about steaks. We can talk about potatoes. We can talk about desserts. But I'm telling you, Egggate, I'm here to tell you Um, some people like it overcooked, some people like it undercooked, whatever. To each their own. They're all probably a little bit wrong, but I'm gonna stand up and say the egg controversy, it has to stop.
The egg controversy is overplayed. It's much to do about nothing.
I mean, yeah, I wouldn't say it's. I mean, I think the criticism is real because I think some people are eating disgusting eggs, but we're all friends, and we have to be willing to accept that some people eat disgusting eggs because we're all friends, and you know,
But I think if we have a discussion about steak, not only are you likely to get differing opinions, but you're likely to get it completely riddled with um, a lot of condescension and a lot of arrogance and a lot more opinionated viewpoints. Like one person says, "I like it rare," the other person says, "I like it I like it medium." You know,
but the thing about talking about steaks is there are objective truths, so there is right and wrong. I'm not sure in eggs, like the chefs, the fancy smanchy chefs cook their eggs a little bit wetter, and they say that's better, and they sort of say like if you know, you eat them a little bit wetter, and I think most people don't. I think that's debatable. Steak, there's no debate. Like there's the right way to cook a steak and the wrong way to cook a steak.
okay.
I would argue it's absolute.
Listen, there are 15 people watching, which means 15 different opinions. And you say there's a right way to cook and eat a steak, and there's a wrong way. Kevin says the well done steak is the only way to go.
So yeah, like I mean, I don't want to make tonight about banning people, but that is a ban-worthy comment.
I think Kevin's saying. I mean, Kevin, I don't know if he's doing that intentionally to trigger
Yeah,
you. I don't like my steak well done. My wife likes her steak well done. She grew up in a house where they cook their steak well done, and she thinks anything less than that is disgusting and raw.
Well, so here's one caveat I would say is that your upbringing matters, and so one of my good friends is he's a retired master gunny sergeant, so he's like a real Marine, and he can't, and it was just all those years of eating overcooked steaks. He can't eat a steak unless it's well done, and it's just conditioning. You know what I mean? And it's and so he orders that way, and he knows it's wrong, and he knows he shouldn't do it. But it's sort of like 20 years doing this. I can't. He's just been conditioned, but he's self-aware. Like he understands I'm doing it the wrong way. But if you like,
blame my parents.
Yeah, that sort of thing.
I wasn't raised correctly. I was raised in not an upper class or upper middle class household.
Okay. But the appropriate way to cook a steak is medium rare plus. And the problem with medium rare is that there's European medium rare and there's American medium rare, and they're two totally different things. And so when most people say, I want a steak cooked medium rare, and you go to a good steak place, they're going to cook. Everyone says they want.
Yeah.
But what they want is medium. And I don't understand why we can't be honest about this. Like most people want their steak medium, but they're not willing to say it because they think it's like going to the bowling alley when you lie about your shoe size because you're in front of everybody else and you got to get the shoes, and they're like, what size shoe? And you're like, oh, I'm an 11. No, you're not an 11. Whatever.
No, size 9. Yeah.
Right. And so I feel like if you go out with a big group, everyone's going to say medium rare. And if you go to a real good place, they will say, like, you want American medium rare or you want European medium rare, because those are two different things.
I've never heard anybody say that before. I've heard people describe it to say, oh, well, you want rare? That means it to be, red in the middle. Or, oh, you want medium? Oh, that's just a little bit of pink. Is that okay?
Yeah.
or whatever.
But
Yeah.
but medium rare plus, if you go to a good place, and I think I ordered this when I went out with Diego, and people are going to troll me for saying it, and that's fine. Like if somebody really knows how to cook a steak, and I said I think I said medium rare plus, and he looked at me and he was like, "Yeah, I gotcha," which means cook it to medium rare, true medium rare, and then just like a
A
tinge
minute more.
more.
Yeah. Like
Yeah, I
30
don't want it
seconds more.
medium. I don't want it medium, but like a tinge more, so that the whole thing is truly medium rare, and I don't like the middle isn't slightly less than medium rare. And if yeah, a good place will know how to do that. And tonight, look, I'll be honest. Like when you have steaks with rosé, it's an adventure. They might be awesome. They might be horrible.
Mm-hmm.
You never know. But tonight I killed it. Tonight I got medium rare plus, and everything was perfect.
Everything was
And
good. By the way,
yeah, everything was really good.
I'm not a fan of any sauces or extraneous.
No,
I mean,
100%,
I like béarnaise sauce, but I'm not going to put it on my steak. I like
100%.
A1. I like all those sauces, but they're unnecessary. If you get a good steak, a good cut that's tender and
Yeah,
seasoned properly, which means salt and pepper, probably that's it. Then there's no need to be drowning
totally agree.
the steak in any sauces.
Totally agree. The sauces are meant to cover up the steaks. That's why they serve sauces at steak restaurants. And
Right.
if they're asking like, do you want sauce on your steak? They're covering up for the fact that they can't keep the kitchen staff.
Yeah, well, there are places that offer you 4 different kinds. We have our signature sauce is a peppercorn sauce. It's like,
Oh,
why would I want peppercorn sauce
right.
on my steak? Yeah.
Why does your steak suck? Why would I want the sauce? Like, just give me the steak. Totally agree. 100%.
Evan G paraphrases your earlier comment. Your upbringing matters, and some people were just raised wrong. Jose Paul, thank you. Evan is talking about buffalo now. He says you don't want to cook buffalo more than medium. It gets gross flavors the more well done it is. Yeah, it's probably because of the
So I like buffalo, but I don't know how to cook it. But I really like going to when places have buffalo. I think that's cool. And then people who know more about this than me, I didn't get them. I was gonna get Denver steaks, and someone in the chat who knows this stuff will know what they were. I was gonna get Denver steaks tonight, but I didn't. I just got strips. And that's like a specific. I don't get into the weird cuts because it's intimidating to me, and I'll screw it up. But yeah, I go to. How would I say? I go to the Tiffany Patek of butchers in our area. It's that good. Like it is it's so good. And once you start going there, you can't eat a grocery store steak anymore.
Let me ask you this. I mean, there are people who say, listen, filet mignon is the best, or listen, the porterhouse, or the ribeye. I mean, is there a method to ordering a specific cut at a restaurant?
So I think so. So I do 2 things. One is if I'm going to a steak place that I know, I'll ask, is there a chef's cut? And that's a little, I mean, that's like a secret everybody knows, but I think a few people might not know that.
Is that simply just a way of asking what cut does the chef prefer?
No, it's asking, is there an off menu cut? Like, does he have an off menu cut that he really that he likes? And so they'll sometimes, if you go into a good steak place and you say, is there a chef's cut? They'll go, oh yeah, we have this and this, and we have 10 of them. I'm not saying you should always get that cut. You might like it, you might not. But it's like a flex, it's a flex in front of the group. I like a strip. I've always said if Rosé opens a steak restaurant, Rosé Steakhouse, the one thing we will do is we will not serve filet mignon. And any chef would agree with that because it's a it's a tender but like kind of dry, flavorless cut that's, I think, overpriced for what you actually get. We would only serve like strips and ribeyes. Ribeyes aren't my thing, but I feel like chefs always choose the ribeye. Ribeye is supposed to be the like, if you know, you know, cut, but
Right.
I actually
Just because it has a certain amount of marbling in it, a certain amount of fat
yeah,
throughout.
yeah,
Yeah.
but I don't actually like it better than I like a strip. You know, that's what I like. But again,
You're saying New York strip.
yeah, New York
Okay.
strip,
New York strip.
boneless,
Interesting.
but
I would not have guessed that for you.
but
I would have guessed ribeye.
okay. I feel like I should order the ribeye, but I don't actually. That's not actually what I want. I want the strip. So just get the strip. I like the bone-in strip as well, but I will say, as much as I'm not into fillets, I went out like so when Diego and I went out for steaks, the fillet there was it was freaking ginormous, and it was really like I put that thing down in, I don't know, 10 minutes. Like it was really good.
That was Hal's. You went to Hal's, right?
Yeah, I really liked it. Yeah, I thought
But
that was
how big of a fillet was it? Was it 10 ounce? Was it bigger than 10 ounce? 12
yeah.
ounce?
So, I mean, I'm an idiot. I don't know ounces, but I'm gonna say it was the size of, I don't know it was probably the size of America's fist. Like it was a big
Yeah.
honking
And it was
fillet.
like 2 inches thick.
I think more. Yeah, more than that.
Yeah.
And they cooked it really. They cooked it perfectly. I said medium rare plus. The guy said, "I gotcha." Cooked it perfectly, and I have no complaints. I think that place is appropriately rated. I'm a fan. I've never been there before. I liked it. I thought it was awesome.
And do you cook steak yourself too?
I do.
And do you
Yeah.
do it on a barbecue, or do you do it on a cast iron, or what's your preferred method for when you do it?
I grill. I always grill the steaks. And I've started talking to people in the chat, people in the community. You know, there's people in the community who really know what they're doing, and they do more. There's people in this community who. So the way we have like watch experts, we do have steak and cooking experts in this community. There's people
Yes.
who are cooking them sous vide. There's people who are doing cast iron and putting it in the oven. Many people have told me, if you really know what you're doing and you want consistent, so you know, at a steak restaurant, it's cast iron and then put it in the oven because the oven temperature is totally consistent and totally controllable. I cook the steaks the way we grew up and the way I was taught, which is, on the grill.
Yep. Me too.
And
Me too.
that's how. It's the only way I know how to do it.
This whole idea of searing it. I mean, like, so Logan Hall says here, there's two elements to a steak: the crust and the internal temperature and doneness. And I bet you watch these videos and they're doing it cast iron or they're doing it in the skillet. It's like, listen, the first thing you need to do is sear it. On both sides,
Yeah.
real quick. 60 seconds at 600 degrees, searing it in olive oil or whatever and then after that, then you baste it, and then you throw it in the oven for 6 minutes or whatever at 500 degrees. And it's like, that's too much work. That's too much.
Right.
I grew up, it's like, hey, come over. Okay, there's a barbecue. You put the steak on there. You flip
And
it
you
a
cook
couple
it.
of times. Yeah, good. You cook
Yeah.
it. And you cook it. It was gonna go back inside and put it in the fucking oven. That's ridiculous.
Cooking. It's not supposed to be a 3-part process. Like, cooking is cooking. You just cook the steak. The one thing I've done, if I'm showing off, if I'm really trying to flex, what I will do is I'll get the steaks from the butcher that I go to, that I like, which I said, like, the Patek Philippe butcher I'll go to. And they put a really fat strip on it, which I have to trim a little bit of that off because I'll get flare-ups on the grill. And if you really, really want to show off, you trim the strip, and then you take that fat, you put it in a pan, melt it down, render it, and then pour that on top of the steak while you're cooking it, and you're essentially like I don't know, I
You're
don't
basting
think
it.
yeah,
Yeah, you're basting.
and pour that on there, and it's really good. But that's only if I'm trying to, like, if you came over and I was really trying to show off and flex, I would do that. It adds a little bit of, I, is it that much better? I don't know, but it adds some more flavor. It's like it's steak butter dripped into the steak, you know.
Yep, yep. It's from the steak itself. It's not something artificial or
Right,
extraneous that you're adding to the steak.
right.
It's steak flavor that is part of the steak.
Yeah.
Logan Hall agrees with you. He says New York strip better than ribeye. And Logan is someone who, like, by the way, there's no excuses. It's summer now. This is a guy who's always lecturing Diego and everybody else on how to cook. Yet we haven't really seen much from Logan in the cooking department. So, I mean, he's got a smoker, he's got a grill, he's got all this stuff, but we have yet to see it in action. Do we have to travel to Nashville to see Logan and his cooking skills in action? Do we have to see that in person, or are we ever going to get it on the stream, Logan?
Yeah.
Yeah. I
And
want to know.
I do time my steaks on my watch. I do.
I time them on my timer function on my iPhone on the clock
Okay.
function. Yeah, I just
I
like
time
I
them.
usually. What is your usual interval for timing? For me, I set it to 2 minutes. And what I do is I set the grill is at like maybe 550 degrees,
Yeah.
2 minutes, and then I flip it over. I do another 2 minutes, and then of course I'm going to do that again. I'm going to repeat that one more time. So it's another two, and then another two, and then at that point it's like, okay, I'll probably go because Mrs. OC likes it well done. I mean, mine will come off in about another flip or two, but hers will stay on a little bit longer. But what are your interval when you're timing it on your watch? How many minutes are you keeping it per side?
So the way I time on a dive watch, on a dive bezel. So when I put them on, I time. It's always different because I got to look at the thickness of the steak, and I gauge it. And then the couple lessons I learned was one is flip early. Do your first flip early so that if you entirely screw up the steak and burn it, at least one side is good. You can always serve it. You can always serve it burnt side down.
I know, but do you really ever do that? I mean, it shouldn't be. If you're setting your timer for 2 minutes, you shouldn't be burning it. Shouldn't get.
No, so I don't set a timer. I literally so when I put them on this grill, I turn my dive bezel, and I watch it, and I mentally go, okay, let's say I'm going to cook this 8 minutes. I cook pretty thick steaks. Like I get pretty thick strips. So it's usually somewhere around 10 minets.
And
so that means,
and before you put the steak on, what is the temperature showing on the grill?
So I get the grill. I drop the temp as soon as I put it on, but I crank it up and I put it on a hot grill. So I put it on the grill at probably 550, 600, but I immediately turn down the temp. I don't cook it at 650, but I put it on a hot grill. Then I'll pull it down, adjust it down to the three knobs, like medium, medium, medium.
For me, I artificially lowered the temperature just by opening the lid and putting the steaks on. That drops the temperature back down to 350 or whatever, and then it has to work its way back up to 550 over the next 2 or 3 minutes.
The other thing I've done, a good secret that's helped. So 2 things I've done that have helped me a lot. One is, my father told me this, which is, when you pull the steaks off, let them rest. Let them rest. Because if you've overcooked your steaks, if you've screwed up, if you let them rest, the color will come back. The pink will come back. Let them rest. But then the other thing I do is if I'm like, let's say I got extremely thick steaks and I'm not quite sure, and I flip them and I'm like, I think I'm going to go an extra minute, but I'm not sure what to do and I'm worried about overcooking them. I'll leave them on the grill, but I'll turn off the gas. I'll turn everything off and just leave them in there because the grill itself is hot. You know what I mean? Like shut the gas off, turn everything off, and then leave them in there for a little bit. And it's essentially like
It's resting under a hot lamp, basically.
Yeah, it's like lowering your margin. it's lowering the margin of error for screw up. It's like, well, if you're going to overcook them, you're going to overcook them not that much. You know what I mean? Like it just it gives you a little bit of buffer. That's what I do. But
Yeah, this now Logan says rest 10 minutes minimum. I don't know if I could ever do that because the steak's getting cold at that point. If you cut into
no,
it right after cooking, you lose all the juices. Resting retains the juices.
no, I think Logan knows what he's talking about. And Logan will agree with this. Um, I had a friend. So we have these friends. We're not friends with them anymore. We have these friends. I'm sure you've had this experience. You know those friends that like on paper.
I think we lost you a little bit. So I'm just going to read a couple comments here. Logan also says if you're cooking Kobe or Wagyu, cook it a bit more rare than you would a normal steak, and you won't eat as much of it. They're a lot more rich. Yeah, I've
Yeah,
seen these
Wagyu is
videos.
hard to eat. Yeah,
I've
it's
seen these
hard to eat.
videos of it's like Kobe or Wagyu or whatever, and it's usually Japanese style restaurant, and they take this thing that it looks like a bar of soap. It's like basically white, with a little tiny
Yeah,
slivers of pink in it, and they just a little bit of salt and pepper. They put it right on the flat top on the hibachi or whatever they call that
yeah,
thing, and then within 30 seconds, there's a giant pool of oil,
yep.
from that steak just melting onto the grill. It's just like it doesn't. I don't know. I'm looking forward to trying it one day. I don't think I've ever had it, but
So I got
that
to
doesn't.
address.
Yeah, go ahead. But
Go,
that's not.
I'm sorry. I don't mean to interrupt. Go ahead. Go ahead. Sorry.
No, but that kind of thing isn't super appetizing to me. Like having
Yeah,
something that's just you're eating like marbled fat. You
yeah.
know. But
But
whatever. I mean,
Captain's comment triggered me because we were with these friends that we're not really friends with anymore. But whatever. We rented a house. We're going out. We're doing a ski weekend, and we did the thing where like we cooked dinner one night, you cooked dinner another night, blah blah blah. And so we're grilling steaks, and I'm grilling steaks, and Mrs. Rose is doing like the vegetables and the potatoes and whatever, and she, I bring the steaks in, and I say, yo, Mrs. Rose, how much longer on the other stuff? And
right.
she says 7 minutes, and I said, oh, perfect. We timed it perfectly. We give each other the high five. I set the steaks down, and the other dad comes around. He says, well, I don't want it to get cold. And he wraps aluminum foil. He tents my steaks. And I said, you're going to overcook the steaks now. They're going to keep cooking. They're going to be well done. He's like, and he said, well, we don't want them to get cold. And I said, they're not going to get cold. They were sitting on a 500, like they were sitting on a very hot grill. They're going to be fine. You're going to keep cooking them. And one, which is like, if the other couple's doing the cooking, step off, like don't get involved. But he
Mhm.
tented my steaks, and so like 7 minutes later, Mrs. Rose serving, she's getting out the green beans and the potatoes, and everything's great and whatever. And I take the aluminum foil off the steaks, and there was a bunch of us, so we weren't serving everybody like individual steaks. We were slicing them up and kind of just putting them on a platter. And
Mhm.
it was all the steaks were all overcooked. And he looked at me, and he didn't say anything. He looked at me as if I overcooked the steaks, and I said, I mean, no one's going to know who this guy is, so it doesn't really matter. And I said, no, Chris, you overcooked the steaks. I cooked them perfectly. You tented my steaks. You
Really.
overcooked
The,
them.
the tenting, so that when the steak comes off, it's like the internal temperatures, I don't know, whatever, 150 or whatever, and then the edge of it, the outside is probably several hundred degrees because it's just
Right.
coming off of the fiber. And so you're saying like by putting the aluminum foil over it, you're creating a mini oven
Right.
where that warmth is going to continue to uh, permeate the
It's
middle of the steak for several more minutes when it shouldn't
it's the
have.
opposite. It's the opposite of rest. Like Logan, I don't know why I believe this because I haven't seen any evidence, but I have this feeling that Logan just knows food and cooking.
Mhm.
And Like tenting, resting and tenting are might be the opposite. Like resting is just set the steak out, let it rest. All the juices will come back in, the color will come back in. It'll be great. You never take a steak straight off the grill and cut it, because as soon as you do it, it'll bleed everywhere and all the juice will come out and you'll have a dry steak. Tenting is like, it keeps cooking the steak. It's very different, in my opinion. I mean, call me an idiot if I'm wrong in the chats, but yeah, that's my opinion.
Yeah, and Logan is talking here about the timing issue. Like if you pull it off a little bit sooner, take it. If you know that the tenting is going to let
Yeah.
they continue cooking, then use that. Keep that in
Yeah,
mind.
that's fair. That's fair. Yeah, that's fair. That's fair. And Captain, I'm only kidding. I mean, but he knows what I mean.
Yep. He says he doesn't cook at 500 on the grill. He cooks at a much lower temperature. Do you actually put a thermometer into the middle of the steak to see what the internal temperature is? I don't do that.
So I don't do that. I've had this discussion with a few people. I probably should, because at the point at which I'm buying Patek Philippe steaks, so if I screw up the steaks where we go, it ruins the night. It ruins the night for me. Like I'm mad all night. If I overcook them and I bring them in and I slice them and they're overcooked, I'm really mad. And everyone tells me, just like, don't be an idiot. This is a solvable problem. Get a meat thermometer. Just do it. And I'm sure that's what I should do. That's what all the experts do. If I'm being honest, it feels a little less manly. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
the grill is supposed to be it's supposed to be you and the grill battling each other. Like, you're not supposed to bring technology into it. I say I cook by touch. I pretend. My brother grew up and studied hospitality, and he can really cook by touch. I like to say I can, but I can't actually. So yeah, I wing it. But the people who say you should get a meat thermometer, I know they're right. I know they're right, but it's like, I don't know.
And the great Logan Hall joins us. By the way, I don't cook.
Oh.
I don't cook by touch. What I do is, and this may be the really wrong way to do it, but when you grow up with a wife who likes her stuff well done, and if it's any bit pink in there, it's gonna be a bad evening for you for the rest of the night. What I do is I'll just take a steak knife and I'll just slice through a certain portion of it to see what the middle looks like. And I know that's bad, because like you're breaking the seal and the juices are going to run out or whatever. But for me, that's the only way to do it, is to actually trust with my eyes what is going on inside the steak. And so I slice through it in the, a certain part of it. I look on the inside. Sometimes if it's a big filet mignon, I'll, at that point, if I cut into it a little bit, I see like it's really red in there, I'll butterfly the thing. I'll just butterfly it and just power grill it for another minute. So basically that inside becomes more done. And let's get Rose back here.
Yeah,
so
sorry about that.
I have to I have to do it with my own eyes. Logan, what's up? I have yet to see. I mean, I trust by the chat that you know what you're doing, but I have yet to see it with my own eyes. But it's okay.
Sure.
Hey, we will see it.
Yeah. Again, sort of, hey guys. Again, just I mean, I figure it's probably better for me just to come on and speak rather than just keep on typing in the chat, right? Yes, I've been cooking steaks for quite a while now. I think there's several different ways to do a steak. I think my preferred way is over charcoal. But again, the thing that I stress the most is that cooking a steak is there's two separate parts, right? There's a crust, then you have the internal temp. These need to be treated as two separate things. Like, you don't necessarily want to use the same grill at the same temperature to do both things. You want to like start out high, right?
Yep.
You know, you need to have it like ripping hot.
Mm-hmm.
You do your sear, right? You know, and you can, you know, let's say you're doing it like at 550 or maybe 600 or whatever. Maybe like after 30 seconds of it being on there, you can do a little cross hatch. You know, I typically do like 40 to 45 seconds, and then I'd turn it like 45 degrees to get my cross hatch. And then I'd do another maybe 30, 45 seconds, and then I flip. And then I do the same. You know, again, you don't have to do the cross hatch on both sides, really, just like the presentation side.
Yeah.
But again, then I pull it off. I can either finish it or, you know, do the internal side of it in the oven, or maybe you have like your gas grill on sort of like a low temperature, maybe like 275, 300, 325. For cooking internal, I wouldn't go any higher than 325 because you kind of risk drying it out internally.
Yeah.
So again, you know, it's two separate things, the sear and the internal temp.
And how many minutes is that going to be at 325?
So I don't know, like maybe like 15 to 20 minutes.
Oh no!
Now, okay.
Wait, I'm busy. I want to eat. I'm hungry, man. I want to.
No. Okay.
Wait, Logan. Can I say one thing though?
Yeah. Go for it.
And people are going to disagree with me on this. So I'm not talking. I can taste when a steak's been in the oven versus just fresh on the grill. There's a difference in the taste, and when you put it in the oven, at most homes, you know, most homes and most places, it's a natural gas oven, and I can taste that in a steak, and I don't want that. I want in the taste. So when you're grilling, you're cooking with propane. And that's a different. I mean, I don't cook. You said charcoal. You're too purist for me. I'm not there. I'm cooking.
Okay.
Yeah, I agree. I'm using a propane tank.
Difference in the taste between cooking with. Right. Yeah. You can taste the propane, and there's a difference in the taste between cooking with propane and cooking with natural gas. And I can taste it when someone's put their steak in the oven. I can taste it, and I think it's fine. It's not as good though. That's my hot take.
Do you ever do a sous vide steak?
No. So I don't own a sous vide. I've never done it. There's a few people in the community whose opinions I respect, and they've told me like, this is the way, and I respect them, and that I'm not ready for it yet. I might someday. I'm just not ready for it. I've never done it. I'm not ready for it.
So I only do sous vide if I'm looking at a steak that's 2 inches or thicker. I think when you're working with really thick steaks, it makes sense because it makes the sort of internal cooking sort of more. Well, I mean, again, it will be the most even that it can possibly be, right?
Yeah.
So when you're working with, say, something that's like 1.5 inches to 2 inches, you know, you can get the evenness done in an oven, or sort of maybe you have like a charcoal setup where you have like an indirect versus direct. I think when you go over 2 inches or at 2 inches, I think that's when sous vide makes the most sense.
Yeah. I'm not at that level yet, but you're people who know more than me have said, you know, someday when you want to get serious, call me up and we'll talk sous vide. And I believe them. Yeah.
Now, OC, you asked, or well, I mean, you kind of called me out. You said, "Hey, you talk all these great things about, you know, cooking and all that.
You got a smoker, you got a grill."
Well,
yeah.
So okay. If Mark Mark from a Lucha Beta Mark, time. If he's willing, I would love to do like a live cooking show with him sort of one day. I just have my steak sort of ready to go. I sort of walk through the process, like I show you all the steps and everything. So if he's willing to sort of host me, because again, I don't have a channel, right? But there's nobody following me.
Yeah, we can do it on his channel. We can do it on the Colony.
Yeah. If there's a platform that I can go on and people are willing to watch me blab and sort of watch me do my thing, then sure, I'm down.
Yeah. Now on sous vide, the way I think of that, and then maybe it's just a bad image that I have in my mind, but I think of like taking a raw steak, putting it in a Ziploc bag, and then dropping it in like lukewarm water for like 8 hours.
So let's go back to the 2-step process here, right? You have the sear and you have the internal temp. Sous vide is purely for the internal side of things, right? So ideally, you would do the sous vide. That takes care of your internal cooking. You can't see it, right? Because first you have to put a sear on it. But again, when you take it out of the sous vide, it's going to be cooked perfectly internally. There is no carryover heat or carryover cooking or anything. It's already at your sort of desired doneness, right? So after you're done with the sous vide, that's when you pat it dry. Again, never put a wet steak like down in like say like cast iron or anything to sear it. Water is going to be your enemy, right? So you want to completely you want a dry steak when you're doing the searing process, so that you have a good sort of Maillard reaction, basically, and that's just the browning effect.
Yeah.
Can I say the thing that everybody's thinking and nobody wants to say it about cooking?
Go for it.
Sure.
I'm sure it's better, but it fucking doesn't seem manly to boil your.
Yeah, it just doesn't. It seems a little too. It seems like this is the method that the French came up with. Right? And just the whole idea of it being called sous vide. I don't want my fucking steak called by that name. I want my steak fucking grilled with fucking flames.
I know people are right. I'm not like, again, people who know a lot more than us have said this is the real way, and I'm not saying Logan's wrong. I guess what I'm saying is I'm not saying Logan's wrong. I'm saying he's unmanly.
But so here's the thing. I do have a sous vide. I've used it maybe 2 or 3 times, and while it's good, like it works, it's not my preferred method.
Yeah.
Yeah, and Captain
also
says something that that with which I agree as well. Is like, listen, I want a steak in 20 minutes. I'm not doing charcoal. I leave that to the reaper. It's like,
so if people are not willing to wait for good food, then they're stuck eating shitty food. Sorry. I mean, that's my hot take for the evening.
But also, I mean, so you put charcoal down, you use lighter fluid on the charcoal.
No. Okay. Okay. You need to buy what's called a chimney. A chimney is basically this thing where you load up the charcoal, and then you put like a little, you can put newspaper. Nobody reads newspaper anymore, right?
So you heat that up, then you dump that into the barbecue or whatever.
So you use what's called like a tumbleweed. It's just sort of like a bundle of sort of straw or whatever, right? But you use that. You let it burn for maybe like 15 minutes. You want the coals to be essentially white hot, because that's going to be sort of your searing temp, basically.
But like, there is a visceral element to this. So if let's just say I invited OC over and I said, OC, come on over. We're going to cook steaks. We're going to smoke cigars. Here's what we're going to do. You'd be like, all right, let's do this. We're gonna have a man's night.
And I saw him break out the Ziploc bag.
And he saw me right, and he saw me break out the Ziploc bag.
No.
I mean, you're telling me OC's not gonna like be like, are you? Is everything okay?
I come in to grab a drink, and I see on the stove there's a pot with boiling
Ziploc,
water in it, and I'm like, "Oh, you're making mashed potatoes?" He's like, "Oh no, these are the steaks." It's like,
Right.
Get the fuck out of here.
Right.
So
he's going to be like, is everything fine? Are you on your period? Like, it's not. It's just not manly.
Here's the thing. I
know
sous vide in the comfort of my own home when
when no one's looking.
Yeah. If I'm cooking for myself, then okay, it's fine. But I will never do that if I have like people coming over.
So sous vide is the. I don't want to say anything that's going to get us banned. Sous vide is the what the
rainbow. Is that
Oh no, I was going to say something much more vulgar.
I was trying to do the politically correct version.
Yeah, it's the it's the X tube of cooking steaks. It's like
exactly
you do it when no one's looking.
Exactly.
And it's like it's the thing you do, but you don't talk about.
So here's a little bit of a twist on this, right? So there are some sort of steak restaurants that will have like 20 sous vides going, and when it and like they might have like 5 set to medium rare, they might have 5 set to medium or whatever. They this is more of a sort of restaurant efficiency thing, and not so much a something that they don't want to admit. But when the order comes in, they say, hey, I want medium rare. They'll just pull out a medium rare from one of the sous vides.
Yeah.
They'll sear it, and then they'll serve it to you. Yeah. I think that's the safest way to go. Some people will argue like sous vide is almost cheating, right? But again, I've done it a few times. I've enjoyed it every time, but it's not something that I'm gonna do like when I bring a date over, like, hey babe, you see my light boiled steak?
No, I can't argue that. Look, I can't argue that you're wrong. I don't think you're wrong at all. I know you're right. Here's what I would equate it to. A natural cork is a very poor way to seal a wine. A screw top bottle is a much better seal on that wine. It's a much better way to ensure that there's no oxidation. But if you screw off the top of that bottle of wine, I can guarantee you're not getting laid tonight. Like
100%.
But it is better. It's better technology. It is better. And so I'm not arguing the facts. I believe you're right.
It's kind of like EV, sort of the sort of acceleration of like a Tesla Plaid, right? Like yes, you're going to be like completely blown back in your seat, but are you having like a real visceral sort of experience? Like you would much rather be blown back in your seat with like a gas powered car. Yeah.
No, I think that's fair. It's fair. Yeah.
Lolix is in the chat. He said Logan Hall saved me from food poisoning.
That's right.
Like
so
tell me the story.
In case you didn't catch the stream yesterday, Lolix was about to so it was getting late for him. He hadn't had dinner yet. He was like, hey guys, I got this frozen steak. Like, can I just like thaw this real quick and cook it? And I had to go on and basically save him from dying, basically. He was going to take the steak. Again, I mean, I don't know what he was storing the steak in, but it was frozen. He was going to put that steak in I guess like a hot water, bowl or whatever. Like not in like a bag or anything. Just straight up the steak in a bowl. First off, if you're going to be thawing a steak, you can't do it in hot water. It needs to naturally cool down at like a certain rate. You don't want to thaw too quickly. So this goes back to like the whole captain thing, like, oh, I want to eat my steak now or whatever, right? If you're going to be thawing something, you need to sort of like respect the process and let it thaw sort of naturally in cold water. But I think Lolix ended up just eating
putting
ramen.
putting in warm water. Putting it in warm water could have caused food poisoning, or is that just an exaggeration?
No, I mean, like to be very truthful, I actually don't know what the negative sort of like consequences of like doing it like straight up like hot water. I just think that it doesn't essentially thaw evenly. Like with sort of cool water, it has more time to thaw evenly. If you were to put a frozen steak in hot water, the outer edges are going to thaw much more quickly than the internal, right? So when you thaw it for say 30 minutes, you might think like, oh, okay, this thing seems like it's good to go now. Well, internally, it may still be frozen. So what's going to happen is if you cook the steak thinking that it's completely, ready to go, the internal is still going to be cold, and your end product is going to be much more raw in the middle than you would like it to be.
Gotcha. I mean, I don't. I'm not a big fan of frozen steaks. Yeah. Evan G asks you a question. Logan, have you ever played with dry aging at all?
I did one time. So here's the thing on dry aging. I would personally leave this up to the pros.
Steakhouses that have those giant warehouses.
Yes. So here's the thing with dry aging. You pay a lot for sort of upfront for the experience. Now, what I mean by that is you have to start out with like a pretty big fucking steak to properly do dry aging. Because what happens is, let's say you get like one of those like dry aging bags, or if you're really fancy, you have a actual dry ager. I'm not that fancy. I don't go to that level. I don't have space for a dry ager in my place. But essentially, it's a specialized, like almost like fridge that is very temp controlled, and it has certain properties that allows the steak to essentially age very, very evenly and sort of uniformly. What happens is you have to start out with a big ass steak. Usually people will do this with like a whole loin or but anyway, what happens is after say 25 days or 30 days or whatever, you have to trim off what's called the pellicle. The pellicle is essentially the dried outer part of it.
The part that's been ruined basically by the air.
The part, yes, exactly. So you can't eat that. What happens is when you cut in deep enough to your steak, you're going to find a much more recognizable, sort of red, sort of rich, sort of colored steak that you're more used to. Now, when you're dry aging, you're going to lose like half the steak that you started with, or possibly even more, to get maybe like one decent sort of strip or fillet or whatever you're cooking, right? So to me, it's not worth the extra money. Like you're basically having to pay for 2 steaks or even 3 steaks for the price of one dry aged steak. So
Wow. Yeah, but that's but the difference in taste is what? Like meaning what the dry age process is doing what? So that middle part of the steak that is protected from the elements. Yes. What is happening to the fibers? What's happening to the meat that's making it supposedly better?
So essentially, the reason why people dry age in the first place is there's a funky sort of characteristic that is added to the flavor of the steak. That might not necessarily sound very sort of appetizing. Like it might even sound sort of off-putting. But if you ever go to a nice restaurant and they say, "Hey, we're doing a special. You know, we have a 45 age dry age." Try it like at least once in your life. I think it does enhance the overall beefiness and overall flavor of the steak. But is it worth paying the premium? I don't personally think so. I think, you know, I mean, like there's sort of the law of diminishing returns, right? I think cooking a steak normally over charcoal or whatever, you're gonna, I mean, again, you're gonna get sort of 95% of like the satisfaction that you would eating a dry age, unless and again, sort of let's assume that, you know, dry age is, you know, at like 98% or like 100%. To me, to go through all that extra effort, you know, personally, if you're doing your own dry aging, it's not worth that extra 5%. Just, you know, if you happen to be at like a nice place like they're offering that, sort of try it once and see if you like it. I think it's one of those sort of rare sort of special occasion things that you might do sort of once every so often.
I might have to try it. And I might have to try sous vide one time. Danny Crook is in the chat. He says, I thought sous vide was a scam to sell more appliances. And then I tried it and I can't go back. And Merrick
There you go.
echoed that comment. Sous vide is the next level of cooking. It's like Neo waking up from the Matrix. You cannot go back. Do you feel like you're compromising, like you're not having the best possible way of enjoying that steak if it's not sous vide, but you're like, you know what? Hey, you know, it's a compromise I'm willing to live with because I just don't want it to be a super complicated process tonight.
So just to be very clear, like sous vide doesn't necessarily add anything from a flavor perspective. You can like add in like a sprig of thyme and sort of like rosemary and like, you know, like a pat of butter into the bag that you're going to like vacuum seal, you know, essentially, and then sort of dunk into the bath. That will kind of sort of enhance the overall sort of flavor and everything. But again, the overall benefit of sous vide is guaranteed sort of wall to wall consistent internal sort of doneness and sort of temperature. Again, I would personally only recommend it if you're cooking like something really thick, like over 2 inches. If it's under like, you know, like an inch and a half or inch, I don't really see the value in it. But again, like if you're and again, I've sort of spoken about how there's two elements. You have the sear and then you have the internal temp. If you're cooking something like a skirt steak, like something super thin, you don't have to worry about like that second like internal doneness step. The sear itself and the carryover heat that's going to come from the sear is going to
cooks it all the way through already.
Exactly. So again, something like that 2 sort of piece element is really only applicable like maybe 1 inch and over, basically.
What I use junk steak for is grinding for hamburger. But if I'm getting steaks to eat steak, I'm picking them up fresh the same day or maybe 1 day in advance.
One thing that we haven't talked about yet is dry brining. So dry brining is something. I do bring this up because Evan mentioned sort of like picking up either the same day or maybe sort of 1 day ahead. I think, let's say that it's a Friday afternoon. You know, I'm like, you get off work, you go to your local butcher, you pick up maybe 2 nice strips or maybe a couple of fillets or whatever. What I would recommend is if you want to have that steak maybe the next night, so like a Saturday night, sprinkle kosher salt. Don't use table salt. Use kosher salt over the steaks. Like, you want to pat them dry first. Sprinkle salt over them, and you would ideally like to do this on a I'm blanking on the name of this, but like basically just like a wire rack, and you would throw this into your fridge, and what's going to happen is the salt is going to be absorbed by the steak, and all the liquid is going to come back out, but the steak is going to absorb that sort of steak water or sort of liquid again. Again, I don't fully understand sort of, I guess, like what's happening internally. But again, when you do this, and then you take those steaks out, again, ideally, you want to leave them out like 30 minutes, like an hour before you actually grill. You want to bring them up to room temperature. So again, then, like a Saturday evening, like you're ready to grill, your steaks have been brought up to room temperature, and then like you do your sear, you do your internal stuff, and then ultimately the dry brine is going to result in a beefier, sort of better overall sort of flavor.
Yeah, I'm not doing that anytime soon.
So my family always like ask me like why do you care so much, or why do you even like go through all these extremes and everything. I mean, like my thinking is, if I can have a better product that I can invest, like yes, there's definitely like a time element to this, right? And if you have time on your hands, then why not take that extra step or two so that you end up with a far superior end product. Again, I'm a single guy. I don't have a family or anything. So I've got all the time in the world. I've got all the money in the world. Now, if you're, like a family man like yourself, you have several mouths to feed, right? Then all this stuff is probably not applicable to you, right? I guess I'm saying all these things from the perspective of a guy that has time on his hands and is willing to experiment for the best possible outcome.
Let me ask you, is there an element to Otto just brought up the reverse sear method, so let me just pull up this comment here. He says the reverse sear method works great in the oven as well. Low and slow in the oven, then blast it on a flaming hot cast iron skillet.
Yeah. So this is a method. I believe it. So there's this guy named J. Kenji Lopez Alt. He's a really great cook, sort of based out of the Seattle area. And I think back in the mid 2000s, he kind of developed this method of sort of the sort of reverse sear. Now, to understand, I guess, the sort of order of operations, typically, like there's two ways that you can do, like, sort of cook a sort of steak in those two parts, right? You can either blast it first and then bring it up to temperature, or the reverse sear is essentially taking care of the internal temp first and then blasting it. I've done both. I really can't tell much of a huge difference. Again, the most important part is you're at least separating the two major steps. You're doing the sear, and then you're doing the sort of an internal piece.
And he has a thermometer hooked up to the steak while it goes in the oven.
Yeah. So I think Rosé, or actually, I mean, I believe that like you either asked Rosé or like this came up sort of earlier on sort of whether you should use a thermometer. I say yes. Don't let this be like something that like you think that like this takes away from like your man card, like your manliness. No, like if you're spending good money on a piece or on a steak, you want to make sure that it's going to be to your desired doneness. And it's such a fickle thing that if you like look away for like 30 seconds, or you like stir a pot and you kind of get sidetracked, your steak could be fucked within a matter of seconds, and it gets overshot, right? So I personally use a product called Meter, like spelled MEATER. It's a Bluetooth thermometer that you essentially insert into the steak. Again, you would be doing this during the internal sort of cooking, portion, right? So, again, I typically do my sear first, and then once I'm happy with how it looks externally, I will stick the thermometer in, and then I'll either like throw it into the oven, or I'll have like a portion of my grill that's on a low temperature, and then it connects to an app on your phone. You can set the desired doneness temperature on the app, and then after a few moments of it being inserted into the steak, it'll tell you, okay, in 7 minutes your steak is going to be at your desired doneness. It also sort of factors in the carryover heat, so it will tell you like, hey, take your steak off the heat now, because it accounts for a few minutes of like resting, right? So again, this is going into sort of the full on extremes. Again, not a lot of people will put this level of time and effort into cooking their steaks, but again, if you have time, if you have the patience, I would recommend at least trying this out, just to see if you end up with a product that you are like, wow, I should have been doing this the whole time. Or you could eat the steak and be like, you know what, that wasn't worth it.
Yeah. Let me ask you this: when you're doing a steak on the grill, there is the element of like you're working with the open flame, so there's flare ups, but there's also smoke, right? I mean, and yeah, I mean, you have a smoker, so like the value of smoke when you're doing ribs or whatever. Is smoke important when you're doing steak?
So, I think smoking steaks is definitely one method to.
I mean the flavor. I mean the flavor.
I mean,
not necessarily smoking a steak, but I'm talking about just the element of there being a little bit of flare ups and char and a smoky element to it. Is that something that is
I
considered?
think I think it personally comes down to the preference of the person eating the steak. I've had people come over and I cook for them, and they say, this is too smoky, or so I think some people appreciate the smoke more than others. It really just comes down to personal preference. I mean, for me personally, I do like the smoke. I think sort of like too much smoke, is definitely possible, and something that like you want to avoid. But again, I think it adds a nice sort of flavor profile, and if there are opportunities to add smoke, then I will. So.
Some really, really good, clever retorts going on in the chat. It's Diego versus Rose, and I gotta say, most entertaining back and forths I've seen in a long time. Guys, thumbs up on the live stream. Hit the like button. By the way, I'm trying to get to. In all seriousness, my next milestone is 500 subs.
Wow!
Believe it or not. So if you know anybody who isn't subscribed, please subscribe to the channel. Tell your friends and tell your enemies. And I'd love to get to 500 subscribers by June 15th. So help me out, guys. Let's do it.
But yes, I mean, definitely sometime in the future, I would be totally down to do a live sort of demonstration or like a master class, on this, either on Lucha's channel.
Order your equipment now. You're going to need a tripod.
Well, right. I mean, I actually do have a tripod now that sort of holds my iPhone. It's slightly limited in the angles that it can shoot. So I mean, I might invest in something a little bit nicer, but yes, that's definitely sort of part of the process.
This needs to be filmed as a skit. Pronto, yeah. This there's a lot of good stuff going on in the chat, guys. I'm gonna capture this chat history, and I think we can do a movie script based on some of these.
Sounds great.
Now, when you're doing, what are your preferred sides? I mean, I'm cool still talking about steak, but maybe we can
Well, yeah, sure.
broaden the subject a little bit. And the traditional sides that you would have with a steak are either some form of potato, baked potato or scalloped or au gratin or whatever, or some kind of vegetable. Sometimes it's a green vegetable like asparagus or broccoli, or sometimes it's a mixed vegetable, broccoli and carrots or whatever. But I mean, when you're at home, what are the perfect in the Logan Hall perfect dinner scenario? What are the sides that make it a perfect accompaniment to steak?
My go-to sides are grilled asparagus and mashed potatoes. Again, I could go on about the whole mashed potato cooking process too. There's even people that will do a sous vide mashed potato, but I don't go to those extremes. I haven't ventured into that realm. But again, my go-to sides are mashed potatoes and grilled asparagus.
I love grilled asparagus. I usually do that in the on the barbecue. What I do is I get those aluminum pans, and it's like a big giant aluminum thing, and then I just put the bottom layer of a little bit of olive oil, and then I'll throw, whether it's asparagus, zucchini, squash, carrots, or broccoli into the thing. And sometimes it's a whole bunch of the different ones with a little bit of salt and pepper, and then just throw that on the grill. And it's and the corn I usually don't do on the grill because corn is really kind of finicky. You have to sometimes, if you have to keep it in the husk, if you want to do it. Sometimes I do it that way, but more 99% of the time it's the wife boils the corn. That's just a simple way of doing it. So and then I do like mashed potatoes, but I tend to eat a lot of potatoes when it's mashed.
Yes, that's true.
I mean, I could just do a whole giant mountain.
Yeah.
I like it salty and buttery. So, and love baked potato too.
Yeah. I mean, one thing that I actually didn't talk about, sort of, for steaks. I think people often sort of overcomplicate the seasoning of steaks. Literally, all you need is salt and pepper. Don't use your, sort of. You don't have to use
McCormick steak.
You don't have to do that. I mean, like literally salt and pepper. When you're doing like Wagyu or like the Kobe beef, don't even use pepper. Just use salt. But again, like just keep it very simple when you're doing steaks. Just salt and pepper. You could do a little bit of garlic powder, but again, I tend just to do salt and pepper. That's it.
Sometimes I do a little bit of garlic salt instead of regular salt. I'll do a garlic salt. And then what about your thoughts? What are your thoughts on like a McCormick meat tenderizer?
You don't like. There's really no need to tenderize a steak.
That's basically salt and dextrose. It's basically a salt, but just a little bit of technology added to it, right?
Yeah. I mean, the only steak, like if you're working with a tough cut of meat, then it makes sense to tenderize, right? But I very rarely ever sort of tenderize sort of any cut. So
tenderizer or a mallet is key for chicken. Yeah, chicken you can use a mallet, especially you want to get a nice thin one if you're doing chicken cutlets or any kind of,
yeah, I mean, if you're looking to do like a butterfly chicken, or yes, when you're doing like a chicken parm or something, and you want like the breast to be sort of all sort of uniform in like the same height, for cooking purposes, then like it totally makes sense to do that, right? But again, sort of, I don't ever tenderize a steak just to make that sort of, I guess. I mean, it definitely makes sense like for other meats, I guess, but um, but again, to me, it doesn't make sense to do it on a steak.
Gotcha. I hope you guys are enjoying the chat. Lots of good stuff going on between Diego and Rose. This, which will be captured for a book. Oh my God! Now it's going back to eggs. Diego M says America's scrambled eggs pronouns are they them.
Well,
Diego, I think Diego did a good job on his eggs today, I have to say.
They were better than last time. I think now. So here's the thing. Anything that I say sort of like beyond this point, Diego will absolutely roast me in the chat, and he will call me out, and try it's essentially make sort of any eggs that I make sort of going forward like, oh, those look like shit, man, how can you eat that, let me give you a sneak peek. So tomorrow morning, Lucha Bedick Mark, he always does his Sunday morning show. I'm going to join him, and we're going to do an egg sort of analysis show. I have pre-recorded myself cooking scrambled eggs, and I've sent it over to Mark, and that is my video. Sort
okay.
of.
So this is tomorrow morning on Lucha Bedick. Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. Okay. Cool.
Yes.
All right.
Yes.
I will. That's going to be awesome. Are you going to join the panel to provide real live color commentary?
Yes. I'll definitely join the panel as well.
Mods, drop a link to Lucha Bedick Time's upcoming live stream tomorrow morning. Please in the chat. And the best place for Sunday morning watch talk, Lucha Bedick Time. Let's see, I was going to say, when you a lot of people talk about like having steak and eggs as a great breakfast, and to me, like, I love eggs so much that I don't want it overpowered with like a full steak next to it. I think of bacon as a great accompaniment. I like sausage patties, Canadian. I can think of a lot of things that I would like rather than steak. Is steak a breakfast food, Logan, in your mind?
I think you can make a case for it being a breakfast food. Personally, I think steak should be reserved for a dinner, food. I mean, when you're doing steak and eggs, you're kind of mixing two proteins together, right? And I think it's best to pick one of those as your protein, and then you maybe have some veggies, or you have a starch or something like that, right? I think mixing two proteins together like that doesn't necessarily make for a great breakfast.
Thank you guys for dropping the link in the chat. By the way, Otto asked, OC, how was your party today? How did it go? It went great, actually. For the most part, we had, 10, 15 people over. It was my daughter's graduation party. She graduated from college. Yeah, so it was a beautiful mid-80s day. The pool was warmed up to 92 degrees. We had like veggies and dip, and we had tortilla chips and salsa, and we had potato chips and ranch dip as the appetizers, regular like stuff that's out by the pool. And then we had a Mexican restaurant kind of cater with steak and all that, like the stuff you would find from Chipotle, like when you went down that aisle, like lettuce, salsa, guacamole, sour cream, steak, black beans, rice, tortillas, chips, etc. And then that part was like barely acceptable. I thought it was not great. But the pool time was excellent, and I actually went into after I ate. I swam a little bit, then went into the hammock, and I fell asleep in the sun. It was fantastic. So I got a lot of sun, and I'm gonna get some more sun tomorrow. It's summertime, and I love my outdoors. So
Very cool. Well, hey, next time that you need, food services again, you just call Logan Hall's
yeah,
catering services, right?
that's right.
I mean, and again, for the colony members, I will offer a exclusive
5% discount.
Yes, 5% discount. Exactly.
Otto says, Evan G. I fucking love schnitzel. I also love sauerkraut. I also love mustard. I don't like either of those three things. I don't like schnitzel, sauerkraut, or mustard. I mean, mustard I'll have on my hot dog, and I like honey mustard. I like honey mustard salad dressing. I mean, but I don't love mustard. There was a kid in school when I was 5 years old who used to come to school with mustard sandwiches. And that's
Mustard
it.
sandwich.
Wonder bread and mustard, and that was his thing. And I said, you know what? I don't like mustard, but you know what I do like? Mayonnaise. So I copied it, but with my own twist. I had mayonnaise sandwiches, and to this day I still love mayonnaise. Like a mayonnaise and tomato is perfect. Like I've had a mayonnaise tomato sandwich. I love it. Bacon, lettuce, and tomato with mayonnaise. Love it. So still love mayonnaise to this day.
OC is a master mayo manipulator.
MMM. Third degree. How many White Claws did you shotgun? 0. I didn't have any White Claws. I didn't have any what are they called? Corona seltzers. We had like 4 different kinds of weird drinks with which I'm not familiar because I don't drink. And I got to see my son drinking a Corona seltzer for the first time. He's like, Dad, I don't like to drink in front of you, but he's in college, so I know that he drinks. He's turning 21.
Nice.
Next month, but officially. But he's been drinking for a couple of years now because he's starting his senior year in college. So he's like, Dad, I want to keep my drinking life separate from my family life.
I mean, I guess just like one piece of advice to your son, I would not drink seltzers at a party at college. Just to sort of hone in my inner sort of rosé Paul. I think the more seltzers you drink, the larger your vajayjay grows. So just don't do that.
Yeah, I'm not sure what the there's all these it was like Corona hard seltzer, and it's like different flavors. There's like black cherry and raspberry and like I don't know. I don't even, I still don't know what a seltzer is. And I asked her, like, does it taste like beer? They're like, no, it tastes more like a sweet something. It's not even beer.
I mean,
it's like a malt. It's like a flavored malt beverage. I don't know what that means.
I mean, just think of like adding Sprite to any sort of beer.
Oh,
I mean,
okay.
it just kind of makes it a bit, lighter and whatnot. I would leave all the seltzers to the ladies.
Gotcha. Tomato. Diego says tomato and mayo sandwich with everything seasoning perfection. I kind of like that idea. Tomato and mayo with everything seasoning. Yep, I agree. I love tomato on burgers, but nobody else in my family eats tomatoes. So I have to, when it's summertime and I'm doing burgers on the grill, I have to remember, like, tell them like, Kate, get me a tomato.
There you go.
Tomato on there.
I do like to do a burger with sort of all the fixings, like the tomato, onion, lettuce. The only thing I don't do is pickles. Not a huge pickle guy, but going back to the mustard, I love mustard on a burger. I will happily put more mustard than ketchup on a burger.
Oh, that is it. You are in the minority, I would assume, on that.
Well, I mean, I think I'm in the minority on a lot of things. I mean, I tend to take way too long to cook my dinners. You know, but again, I'm after a better end product, right?
And when you were growing up, is that something that you did as a kid, or is that something that
No.
parents introduced you to?
No, so I didn't really get into cooking until I started living on my own. Um, I I got a 1 bedroom apartment in college, and like my freshman year of college, I was on campus, you know, and you know you did have a kitchen there, sort of in like your shared sort of space and everything, but no one really ever bothered cooking there.
Mhm.
My I think I was on campus again sophomore year. I think junior year is when I actually moved out and got my own sort of 1 bedroom place, not too far from campus. And I thought, well, shit, I'm like 15 minutes away, sort of 20 minutes away from campus. I can't exactly just go get sort of every meal there now. So
Mhm.
I kind of had to start cooking on my own, start to learn how to cook. Like my mom taught me how to cook sort of at like a very early age. Like the very first thing I learned how to cook was like a grilled cheese sandwich. And that that was definitely good because like it kind of teaches you about sort of like the browning process and sort of all that. But again, I was kind of forced to learn how to cook when I started living on my own. And then you know as sort of time went on, I wanted to start to impress my female friends, of course, and so I started to challenge myself to learn how to cook better and all that. And so I mean, I personally just kind of cook for myself now. I mean, I mean, it's more just sort of like a self sort of satisfaction, like wow, um, I was able to make that or whatever. And on my personal sort of Instagram, like it's like 75% like just photos of of the things that I cook, basically. So
Mhm. By the way, a couple of people have joined the chat in the last few minutes. We've got Mr. G, Fat
yo,
G,
Sean,
formerly Small G, yeah, otherwise known as Sean in the chat. We got Johnny O, and Johnny O asks, "Fried eggs on burgers?" Question mark.
I say yes. I think there's definitely a case to be made. Now, this is a little bit sort of contradictory to what we were talking about earlier with like steak and eggs, right? But
Yeah.
I think uh, a fried egg on a burger sort of always goes well. I I'm a fan of that, Johnny O.
I mean, if you think of an egg sandwich as being egg, cheese, and some kind of meat on a bun,
Yep.
then a breakfast, that's usually typically sausage, bacon, or ham. Then it's kind of logical to extend that to a hamburger as well. But the hamburger patty is typically much bigger than the meat portion that you'd find in a breakfast sandwich.
Yes.
So
Yes. Yep.
yeah, to me, it's like I would do. I like egg sandwiches without meat sometimes too. Like I could just do egg and cheese
Oh yeah, easy. Yeah.
without the meat. Yep. Fried eggs, bacon, cheddar, and grape jam for the ultimate burger experience, says Evan G. Interesting. The grape jam. That's just to add a little bit of
The
sweetness.
sweetness. Yeah. Yeah, the jam is definitely sort of like the wild card there. I personally have not made that before, but again, I would be willing to try it for sure.
Yeah. I mean, the thing is with egg is this I don't like stuff to be super messy. So when I do my breakfast sandwiches, usually doing those over medium.
Yep.
I
Yep.
want that yolk. People are gonna laugh, but when you get a McDonald's egg McMuffin or sausage McMuffin or whatever, it's not a runny egg. It's a fully cooked egg.
Y-
So I don't want but I don't want yolk dripping down the side of the burger.
Sure, sure. One thing that I mean, like a lot of sort of like pro chefs and everything, when they do anything with eggs, they love to sort of undercook it and have sort of like the runniness, going down. I think it's more for show. I mean, this is where I kind of disagree with them. I'm also sort of in your camp. I am not someone who enjoys a super runny egg. That doesn't mean to say that I don't sort of overcook my eggs. I do know that Diego is probably thinking, oh, Logan loves dry eggs. He loves sail. But no, I mean, I again, I am also with you in that, just like the whole runny egg thing, I think that's more of a, trend and a personal preference. It's not something that, I personally like either.
Evan G says it really elevates it. You already have salty, meaty, fatty flavors, and adding sweet just kicks it up a notch. That makes sense. And then I saw something where a pretty smart comment here. Well, it's an opinion. Mr. G says pickles should be separated from the burger all the time. So in other words, if you go to a deli or if you go to a restaurant, sometimes the pickle won't be pickle slices inside the burger, but you'll have a really tiny pickle on the side.
So because it's a liquidy thing and sort of like a moist thing, if you keep it on the burger or the sandwich or whatever, that's just going to sog down the bun, right? So I think when you go to a burger joint and sometimes they will put all the condiments sort of on the side, and then you're kind of forced to build the burger sort of how you want it to. I do think that's a good practice. Now, yes, I do agree with Sean. If you keep the pickles on there and it sits out for a while, then you're going to have a very pickly, soggy bun, basically.
You put the pickle between the burger and the ketchup mustard. That's his argument.
There's a whole sort of a debate on the stacking sort of hierarchy of a burger. I'm trying to think of how I stack burgers. I think I put the sauce down first. I do the lettuce. I do. Do I put the cheese? Okay, I can't remember what I do exactly for burgers, but I think typically it's like lettuce, patty, cheese,
tomato,
cheese, tomato, onion, and then your other sort of sauce on the top, basically. Mm-hmm. If you want to do a pickle, then you would do the pickle, I guess, towards the end, basically.
Yep. Big Meech is in the on the panel. Welcome, Big Meech. Happy Saturday. Meech. Hope you're doing well.
Yeah,
Meech. What's up? You are in the heart of America. You're in the homeland, where cooking steak is part of Americana, part of your daily life. Is there anything you've heard today that is either you vehemently disagree or something that something that was said that where you go, yeah, that hit home. That hits home for me. I agree with it.
Well, I mean, look, I think anybody who goes to the grocery store and buys their steaks or their burgers or their brats is very unmanly. All right, go out there and get it yourself. Be a real man. You kill the cow by your hand. Slit its throat open. Yep. You kill that turkey. You snap its neck. All right. None of this sissy stuff going to the grocery store. What's that all about? All right. Very unmanly. Secondly, anybody who uses a gas grill is very unmanly. I mean, come on. That's gonna make it taste like shit. All right. Be a man. Use charcoal. Get it white hot.
Charcoal. That's right.
All right. Secondly, you don't need all this fancy tech. You don't need this 12 stall. You don't need this giant grill that can hold 12 patties or whatever. Fuck that shit. You don't need the grease trap or anything else like that.
What do you have? One of those little small red Weber grills?
Yeah, I know. I have one of the tiny the Weber grills. Yeah, that can hold maybe about 8 patties at most if you really squeeze them in there. I mean, that's all you do. That's all you really need, man. You know,
Yep.
I'm not like the Reaper where I use a George Foreman grill. I mean, that guy's off his rocker. But yeah, all you need is a Weber grill, man. A Weber grill and charcoal. That's all you need.
Exactly.
Do you agree that lettuce is for losers? Should lettuce be relegated to the salad only?
I'll tell you this. And I know there's people who do this. All right. If you are one of those freaks who grills your lettuce, all right.
Oh my gosh.
No, nobody
All right.
grills lettuce.
No, I've seen it happen. It's very much a Cali thing too. That's what's stupid. You know, I figured it would be very much a Cali thing. But yeah, I mean, you got people out there in LA. Oh, you know, we're hip, we're cool. We like avocado on our toast and our Starbucks. And oh yeah, we like our lettuce grilled. What the fuck's that all about? I'll never understand those people. Anyways, as far as the lettuce, look, I think lettuce, I can take it or leave it. Sometimes it's good, sometimes it's not. 90% of the time, you don't need lettuce. All right, a burger isn't about all the condiments. Fuck the condiments. All right, the most condiments that you should throw on there is a piece of cheese. That's it, really. What's the point? The point of the burger is it's all beef. All right, beef and bun. All right, that's all you want. The rest, forget about it.
I do often get a quarter pounder with cheese. You know, I mean, it's literally just the patty, cheese, and a little bit of sauce, basically. So,
yeah, that's good because they have those big slivered onions on the quarter pounder with cheese.
Slivered onions. That's a new term.
Yeah, slivered onions.
Sure.
For me, Otto says it's bun, sauce, patty, cheese, tomato, lettuce, bun. I guess that's a very specific order of stacking here.
Look, the only time you should be worrying about stacking your burger is when you're trying to stack another patty. All right, that's the only time you worry about stacking. Other than that, just don't worry about the condiments. Condiments don't even make the burger. All right, condiments aren't important. All right, the only thing that's important is the beef patty. All right, you don't make a sandwich with just condiments, do you? No, you make the sandwich with the burger.
Well, there's certain burgers that are known for the totality of the assembly of the burger. So, for example, if you go to In-N-Out, the burger itself, yeah, it's a fresh patty, but it's nothing to write home about. It's about the fact that you get either onions or grilled onions on it, and then there's lettuce and tomato and the special sauce. I think it's everything, and it's having the right proportion of meat to the rest of everything else that, to me, makes a great tasting burger. And sometimes you want a little bit of crunch. You want a little bit of lettuce or tomato or grilled onions or whatever to break up.
Look, if you want crunch, all right, that's what they made chips for. All right, if you want crunch, that's what they made chips for.
Okay. Otto asks, have you ever had the Elvis sandwich? Now, the Elvis sandwich, I believe, to which he's referring, is grilled peanut butter and banana. And I did make that one time. And it's just really, really rich. You know,
I don't think it was even grilled. I think it was microwaved, honestly, if I remember correctly.
No. If I'm going to grill a sandwich, I do it simple. It's butter, bread, and 2 slices of Kraft American singles, and then you make it a grilled cheese sandwich. That's the best grilled sandwich.
Just throw that shit in a frying pan. Same shit, honestly. There's no need to fire up a grill for something like that.
Oh yeah, that's what I meant. Frying pan. I don't do a barbecue for that. That's ridiculous. Yep. Let's agree. There's nothing worse than a burger that falls apart.
Debatable.
Yeah, it is frustrating, though. It's frustrating.
I'm not saying it's not frustrating, but that's when you know a burger's good. Like let's just say like Five Guys, right? Their burgers fall apart.
Yep.
Why? Because the patty's fat, all right? It's thick, all right? Stick it in a bowl of oatmeal, all right? That's what you want.
Five Guys is just thick. Those are very thin patties, actually, but they do 2.
Well, I mean, for somebody who's probably a little bit more plus size, they might come off a little smaller, but we'll ignore that fact for you, OC. But for the average American who isn't pushing the borders of obesity, those beef patties are thick, all right? Then you compare that to let's say a miserable burger joint that nobody goes to, Wendy's, right? They're
Yeah.
square patties,
Square
they're thin. You know, it stays together nice and put because that's not even real beef. All right, that's not real beef. It's tofu. All right.
Big Meech is on the panel, guys. If you want to join the panel, I'll drop the link in the chat. It's not me hosting; it's about you. And frankly, Logan and Big Meech are great panelists, but you can add to the fun as well. By the way, the best recipe for a burger. Let's all sing it together. Johnny O has it here in the chat. 2 all beef patty, special sauce, lettuce, cheese, pickles, onions on a sesame seed bun. Thank you.
You know,
I
while we're
love the
talking
Big Mac.
about classic advertisements, man, that takes me back. That takes me back in the day. OC, do you remember the Fritos Bandino? You remember that? Remember
Oh,
the
yeah.
old classic commercials? Can we bring up one of those classic commercials of the Frito Bandito?
Let me do a search for that. Hold on a second. Talk amongst yourselves.
Look, you know, this is obviously before America got soft, but I mean, I think it's a phenomenal commercial.
Let's see what we have here. These are from the 60s.
Bandito like me. You too? Then you must sing the Bandito song. Let's sing together. You just follow the bouncing Fritos corn chips bag. Ay, 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 ay. I am the Frito Bandito. Hey, I like Fritos corn chips. I love them, I do. I want Fritos corn chips. I'll get them from you. Ay, 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 ay. Oh, I am the Frito Bandito. Give me Fritos corn chips and I'll be your friend. The Frito Bandito, you must not offend. Now, boys and girls, you are Frito Banditos too. You sing the Frito Bandito song and you loco for crunchy Fritos corn chips. That's nice. Munch, munch, munchy bunchy Fritos corn chips.
You know, that's classic. That is, I mean, man, just give me a bag of Fritos Banditos now. I mean, I mean, this is classic here. You know,
Yeah.
nowadays
realize
it's
you-
considered culturally insensitive, but you know,
You guys heard that, but you didn't see it, correct?
Correct. Yeah.
Oh man, you didn't interrupt. Here, let's do it again.
I heard you want to be a Frito Bandito like me. You too? Then you must sing the Bandito song. Let's sing together. You just follow the bouncing Fritos corn chips bag. Ay, 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 ay. I am the Frito Bandito. Hey, I like Fritos corn chips. I love them, I do. I want Fritos corn chips. I'll get them from you. Ay, 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 ay. Oh, I am the Frito Bandito.
There you go. From the 60s.
yeah, Diego is probably just in middle school. If we're talking about the '60s.
I have a headache, or I would join. Oh, Diego, feel better. A great burger. Chalk flew up. A great burger with disappointing fries is a real letdown. The fries are almost 50% of the experience.
Yeah, I'd say that's valid. Valid.
Yeah.
Uh,
I agree.
Yeah, the fries
You
are
don't want to know
really
who has the
important.
most disappointing fries. I'm just gonna name off the chains here: McDonald's. All right, McDonald's, Wendy's, Dairy Queen. Who else is out there? A&W. Who else out there? Burger King. I mean, and that's actually kind of sad because Burger King actually used to have it down, but now they don't. They lost it. All right.
Whose fries do you like? I mean, I like McDonald's fries. I like them when they're hot. They taste good. I like them.
Give me Culver's. All right, give me Culver fries. Give me
Culver's.
Hardee's.
Midwest.
Yeah, we're not in Texas. We don't know. But nobody knows what Culver's is, man.
Well, I mean, it's the freshest patties you can get. I mean, it's fresher than Five Guys. And then the Five Guys, obviously, their fries are fantastic as well. They're phenomenal.
Yeah, I like Five Guys, and a lot of people don't like In-N-Out fries, but because they're fresh and they're not used to the fries. They don't taste like what you're used to tasting, which is frozen fries.
Oh, and we can't forget Long John Silver's. Best fries in the market.
I didn't know they serve fries.
Nobody does. I mean, nobody can actually prove me wrong because nobody's actually been to Long John Silver's either.
That's
So
true.
we're just gonna run with it.
Yes. Long
Oh,
John
okay.
Silver's.
Would you count Would you count wedges as fries though?
That's a hot topic.
Potato wedges are called potato wedges. They're not called fries, but they're basically
They're nicknamed fries. Wedge fries. That's what they're nicknamed.
I think they can be in the fry family, but they should not be exclusively called a fry.
Yeah, I know. When I was a kid, I used to get the Ore-Ida crinkle cut fries by the bag, and I would go through a whole bag a week, maybe a bag every two servings, and I would lay that out on the aluminum foil. I'd put a little bit of Pam or whatever, spray it on the bottom. I'd put a single layer of fries across the entire cookie sheet, with the entire width of the oven, and put them in there for 20 minutes and throw some Lowry seasoning salt, some black pepper on there, and then tons of ketchup on the side. And I would sometimes do 2 hot dogs, like coming home from school, like, from junior high, for my afternoon snack.
Yeah, you can't do that anymore.
No.
All the
Funny story.
Go to the roof.
I ran track. This is from Rose. I ran track in grade school and ate 10 White Castle burgers before I ran the mile. I won, then barfed on the track.
Oh no.
Okay, but I know I've never been to I've only been to White Castle once, and I was probably like 5. And my dad said we need to get the hell out of here, honestly, because it was in downtown Minneapolis. Anyways, now if I remember correctly, White Castle, their burgers aren't that big. If I'm wrong, I'm wrong. But they're not that big.
Yeah,
they're like sliders, essentially, right?
They're like little tiny, oily, greasy sliders. Yeah.
All right, so eating 10 is probably the equivalent to what? Eating 3, or 2.5 at least.
So basically, in the South, we have something called crystals. It's basically like the sister burger joint of White Castle, and they steam their patties. But again, I don't personally like crystals or White Castle. I think it's great food if you're drunk at 3 a.m.
Well, I mean, to be fair, that's most chain restaurants' #1 client.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I mean, Culver's is very interesting. So there's actually a legitimate war, actually, if you will. There's a legitimate turf war between Culver's and Dairy Queen. It's usually on-site beef between the two.
Really?
Oh yeah.
So Culver's is big on their butter burger, right?
They're big on their butter burgers, and they do what is called essentially custard. Which it's a thicker version of ice cream. I mean, honestly, you could say it's ice cream, really. I mean, if you're kind of splitting hairs, I feel like, but they're more of just like heavily into like the custards, and it's just like a really extra thicker version of a Blizzard. Between the two, give me Culver's all day. Not to mention, around Easter, Culver's does they do a mean walleye basket around that time. They break out the walleye and the cod baskets. Oh, fucking phenomenal! And the only
is that a whitefish?
Does it matter? I mean,
Yeah,
I don't personally see color OC, but I mean, if that's the way you want to go, I mean,
I do. When you're frying your fish, I want whitefish.
OC. I mean, I think we have to shut the stream down.
Yes, the stream is. Listen, we're demonetized, so nothing bad can happen anyway. Johnny O says Culver's fries are good. The crinkle cut fries at Culver's. Never had Culver's, but heard great things though. Otto, thank you very much. In-N-Out should be shamed about their fries. That's what happens when you have fresh fries. You have fresh fries; they're going to taste like fresh fries, and not like frozen and re-flash fried fries. So Steamed, steamed burgers. They're steamed, for Christ's sake. Yeah, White Castle. It's garbage. It's garbage.
I've tried their freezer section burgers, and I didn't think much of them. I thought they were shit, honestly.
I've never heard
think
of this.
I think that's taking a terrible thing and making it worse by putting it in the like sort of putting it into like a grocery store format.
Evan G says my favorite fast food burger was Griff's. I've never heard of that. Is that a
Never heard of that either.
Yeah. Yellow Hair Griff's. We used to have 2, but they both left. The only locations anymore are Texas and Louisiana.
Were you taught circular logic when you ate those? Or?
Circular logic was, I was exhausted. I exhausted every time I ate Griff's. Make sure that you're close to home after a Culver's custard.
Oh, come on now. No, that's slander, all right? That's slander. I won't stand for it. No. Slander.
All right, Diego wants to talk about sandwiches. Says,
Haven't we technically been talking about that?
We talked about eggs, we talked about steaks, we talked about fast food burgers, we talked about eggs on burgers, and if you want to pivot to sandwiches, feel free.
We did a whole segment on the Elvis sandwich, right?
I mean, technically, burger is a sandwich if you think about it. I mean, I don't know what he's going for here, really.
Let me ask before we get into sandwiches in depth. Do you like peanut butter and jelly sandwiches?
I think they're a great food if you're 5 years old.
From a protein standpoint, if you're just gonna have peanut butter, yes, peanut butter and wheat.
But you don't put any jam or jelly on it?
No, because then it basically bumps you over your calorie deficit and it kind of pivots.
Well, what about making it a great tasting sandwich? Is that not a consideration?
No, it's not a consideration. No.
It's going to bump you over your.
It's going to bump you over your macros.
It's like wheat bread and
Technically, you shouldn't even be having the wheat bread. You should just be taking a spoonful of it, honestly. But
organic peanut butter with no sugar. Let's see what we have here. Let's get the sandwich talk started. Italian deli sandwiches, chicken cutlets, cold cuts are by far the best. Nothing comes close.
I'd agree, and I'll say this. Yeah. You know what? I'll make a bold claim. Subway sandwiches shit all over Jersey Mike's.
Ooh, I'm the total opposite. I grew up on Subway, and they were always just okay, but I think Jersey Mike's sort of came around later, right? And I think that opened a whole new door to the idea of a sub sandwich, for me at least.
I mean, Jersey Mike's. I mean, like when you think about the competition right now, right? On average, it's only between Subway and Jimmy John's. Nobody even thinks about Jersey Mike's. Jersey Mike's. They're a thing of the past. They went out with the Telegraph, all right? Nobody wakes up and says, I'm going to have a Jersey Mike's sandwich.
When you go to Jersey Mike's, do they slice the meat fresh in front of you like they do at Jimmy John's?
Yeah, they do.
Oh, they do? Well,
yeah, same thing as Subway.
That, right? Well, Subway doesn't slice anything in front of you. What are you talking about?
No, because, there's etiquette, all right? There's etiquette. They slice it in the back, all right?
No, they do not. Those fucking packets are delivered there. Come on. Those are plastic packets of.
All right, so it's already. You know what? It's made fresh in the morning. It's like a quick trip, right?
It's not made. No,
it's fresh in the morning. It's fresh. It gets delivered. You can't.
The meat is the lowest. The meat is the lowest quality meat. What Subway has is that they pioneered.
You can't forget about their Cinnabon sticks too, as well. I mean, you can't forget about the churros. I mean, you see Jimmy John's, or you see Jersey Mike's doing that.
No one gives a fuck about Cinnabon.
Jersey Mike's is just delivering shitty ass subpar cookies. I mean, everybody's doing that nowadays.
I was about to give Subway a compliment. What Subway has going for it is the fact they pioneered having the bread ovens in the store, right where you can see them. And baking that bread right in front and smelling that bread and having fresh bread. And they also pioneered the idea of cutting the V-shaped top out of the bun. Remember when they used to do that way back when? They, instead of cutting it the sandwich bun in half, they used to cut a kind of a triangular wedge out of the top and shove all that stuff in there, and then put the wedge back on there. But they stopped doing that because it was so complicated for their people to. It's so time consuming for the people to actually cut the bread that way that they got rid of that. Yeah.
I mean, introduce the flatbread essentially. Yeah.
Yeah.
Revolutionized the sandwich game, mind you.
Yeah, they revolutionized it with fresh bread, the way they cut that V-shaped thing, and also the $5 footlong. That could not be. The importance of that can't be understated.
I feel like Subway was on the cusp of being great. They were going to be a dynasty, right? They were going to do great things. Of course, they
had 20,000 locations in the United States, so there was.
Yeah, I mean, look, we really know what happened, right? We know that little thing that happened. That kind of set them back about 10, 15 years.
What you're talking about, the thing with the spokesperson?
Yeah. What a shame, man. Anyways, beside the point, they just need a spokesman. Because Subway doesn't really have a spokesman, right? They just need one. They need one. I think. Who could be a perfect example for Subway? They've had a few in the past. They've had like Lindsay. They've had like Michael Phelps, right? Michael Phelps. Everybody knows who Michael Phelps is. Beloved. He's beloved. He's an American hero, right? Who else have they? They've had Drew Bledsoe, I believe. They've had NASCAR racers as well. They just need to settle on something though.
I think sort of recently they had like Steph Curry, even a Tom Brady I think has.
Bill Belichick. Yeah, he was also a spokesman for Subway, just in the Boston area though. Just in the Boston area, all right. It wasn't nationwide. But
did they have Togos where you guys were?
Who?
No. Never heard of Togos?
Never.
Okay. By the way, Diego says something that's kind of weird, and I wanted to talk to him about it. He says, "Why the fuck do they start putting the meat on the top?" At Subway, they don't put the meat on the top. At Subway, they do the bread. They cut the bread, and the first thing they put on the bottom is the meat.
Yeah, it's always been like that.
They don't put meat on top at Subway.
If they did it to Diego, they're probably just doing it to fuck with him because they know, how impressionable he is. I would do it, honestly. I would just fuck. I would love to fuck with Diego on a daily basis, like with him, Like I would just like put all of it like a sandwich meat at the bottom, but then just keep one piece at the top.
In Georgia, it's on top. Do you think that they actually have a different rule in Georgia and they assemble?
It is the deep South, so anything's possible down there.
Do you guys get a small, or do you get a half, or you get a foot long when you go to Subway?
You get a foot long. You may as well, for the price that they're charging you have to get a foot long because it makes no sense to get a half.
Back in the day, it used to be like $5.99 for a half, $7.99 for a
I remember the $5 foot long. Shit. OC, you want to talk about back in the day? Shit. You and I were around at that time, man. We still had the dollar menu, man. We still had the dollar menu. We had the 2-for-1 on the BK. Oh man, Kmart was in its prime. Walmart was up and coming, man. Take me back. Those are the days, man. Those are the days. Where did the time go, man?
By the way, you still have your Trans Am? You still drive a Trans Am?
Yep.
Love that car.
I remember back in the day, you could get a handy behind the dumpster for 25 cents.
Okay, here we go.
Triggered me. You must not have had Subway in a long time because they didn't used to always do it. I want you to pull up the Subway website. They changed this shit. Like,
I
'cause you
genuinely
remember
hope
the
they're just
V cut.
fucking with you, Diego. I genuinely hope they're just like they know who you are and they're like, hey, this guy's fucking paranoid as shit. Let's fuck with him today.
Go to the website, OC. Like, please, this is ridiculous.
Okay, so I'm gonna go to the menu and let's see this classic sandwiches. Let's see.
Diego, they probably shortchange you on the sandwich too. It's probably not an actual foot long. It's probably like 9 inches.
They just give me 2 of the halves.
Yeah.
They got in the back. Yeah.
It's
You ever
leftovers
notice
from
when
yesterday.
you ever notice if you ask for a 6-inch, they'll cut it like clearly with one side favoring like 7.5, 8 inches, and they give you like the 4-inch side.
The short, yeah.
You're like, hey,
Second.
what are you doing?
That's why you get the flatbread. You know, it's already pre-marked, so they have to
Oh,
tear it
dude.
at the pre-marked
The
area.
buffalo chicken flatbread. It's fucking good.
You gotta get that thing toasted. I refuse to eat it just soggy.
Am I wrong, OC?
No, I mean I do see there's some threads about now that they're putting that they put the vegetables beneath the meat. So I'm just trying to figure out the time frame of when that happened.
So it's been at least here at least 10 years, because I remember I used to go to the Subway, maybe even longer, back where we used to live. And when they would do it, I'd say, do you mind putting the meat on the bottom? And the people working there would look at me like I was crazy. They're like, what? And I'm like, put the meat on the bottom. And they're like, And I was like, how do you make a sandwich at home? Do you put the meat on top?
Yeah.
And they're like, well, no. And I was like, well, then why are you doing it here? I don't know.
Yeah, I see
It's-
some. Hold on.
But even on their website, it's all on the top. And burger, some of the fast food chains are starting to do this shit.
I don't understand how they would do that because don't they offer you the sandwiches toasted?
So what they do is they'll cut the bread and then they like fold it in half like a damn book. They like flatten it out and then they put the meat and the cheese. They put the cheese first on the bread and then they put the meat on the top side. And then they start just like
I guess ultimately
putting
here,
all the-
and what's your point here, Diego? Why does this bother you?
because it wasn't like that before, and somebody made a decision like we're going to start putting the meat on top.
Okay, but what difference does it make?
It makes
It
a
makes a
huge
big-
difference. When you bite into a sandwich, you don't want to go meat first. It's got to be the crunchy veggies and then the meat at the bottom.
Diego,
Makes
I
a
feel like you're one of
huge
the type of people
difference.
who eats his pizza with a fork. You scrape off all the toppings and then you eat that topping
You,
and then you eat the bread
can try
afterwards.
being insulting and edgy, but it's true. Nobody puts meat on the top when they make a sandwich at home.
It depends on the sandwich.
No, I
Because
can't
I
think of
do.
one.
So I lay down the cheese first, and then
You
I
put
put
the
my
cheese
summer
on the
sausage.
bottom?
Yeah, especially if I'm doing a summer sausage sandwich. You put the cheese on the bottom, and then you put the summer sausage on top.
Oh no. You gotta let that cheese melt onto the summer sausage.
First off, I'm not. Why would I? What am I doing? Cooking it? No, you don't cook that shit.
I'm not wrong here.
Yeah, it's. I'm surprised that they actually do it that way because I just don't understand how. Because usually they offer to toast the sandwich. So what they usually do is they put the meat first, then the cheese on top, then say, okay, you like it toasted? Boom. Then they toast it. Okay.
Right.
And then it comes out, and then the cheese is melted over the meat, and then they add the toppings.
Yeah, I don't know, man. Something changed. I think it was when Obama got elected.
Yeah, could have been.
when Obama got elected.
Could be, AOC, her influence. Evan G says, I like Jersey Mike's. They put so much salt on everything, though. Their pepper relish is like 2,000 milligrams of sodium. Yeah, that's the thing that they do with Jersey Mike's. They have this red pepper relish that they put. It's like a spicy red pepper something. That they put
I don't
on
know
everything.
if it's really that spicy, man. I eat horseradish right away in the morning for breakfast.
Oh, horseradish is so good. Dude, roast beef and horseradish sandwich. Amazing.
The other bad thing about Subway is like they're so stingy with their meat. Like when you get a sub, like they always put down like 1 or 2 slices, say ham or turkey or whatever. But like with Jersey Mike's, they load that shit down, and you're like, well, okay, damn, that's a lot of meat.
It's mostly bread, honestly, because if you looked at their bread, it's about a foot thick. All right, you're being deceived.
Yeah. Sometimes if I'm ordering either Subway or Jersey Mike's, I'll have them remove the middle from the bread and make like a little gully where everything kind of falls into. It's sometimes just too much unnecessary bread. I don't do it for health reasons. Like I'm removing carbs, but I do it just to reapportion the percentage of bread versus the rest of the sandwich.
Right.
Makes it more efficient.
I gotta say, Jimmy John's though, they're pretty good. I like them.
Jimmy John's
they're
is decent. They're decent. Yeah, they're
Dude,
very
their bread is so good. It's kind of like
It is really
firm.
good.
decent.
It's like
butter
nice
bread.
and spongy.
It's like garlic
Yeah.
butter bread.
Oh. Do you guys have Firehouse subs?
They went
Yes,
out of
we
business,
do.
didn't they?
You
You're
might
right.
You might be right because the one that we had closed.
Yep.
Shit.
Because I think they filed for bankruptcy. Like, what was it? Like 8 years ago?
Oh, well,
They
we
were
had one-
famous for like their hot subs, right?
Yeah,
Yeah,
essentially, yeah.
Steam. They pretty much just steam them. But yeah, we had one within the past year near where I work, but I don't know. I didn't know they went bankrupt.
I could be wrong, but I know they were facing financial problems. But anyways, but speaking of Jimmy John, so this is back in the day when I used to work at Verizon. My district manager loved Jimmy John's. Loved Jimmy John's a lot, actually. And before that, he used to love Arby's Reuben sandwiches for some reason. And he would eat them constantly. He would eat them for basically snack, lunch, whatever. And he was so there was a rumor, and I asked him about this before I left, and he said it was true. He confirmed it was true. But at the time, there was a rumor that he shit himself because he was eating so many Reuben sandwiches. And when he shit himself, he was wearing shorts and he was helping a customer, and apparently a turd rolled down his fucking leg.
Oh my God.
And how this ties into Jimmy John's is like this guy had I don't know, like once he found something he liked, he didn't quit, So he got into Jimmy John's. He started eating a bunch of Jimmy John's, and he shit himself again. Because he shit himself. I forget what the fuck was it? I think he ordered the Italian hero or whatever, and he ate it all the time, and he ended up shitting himself. This time not in front of a customer, but he ended up just shitting himself.
Dude, after
boy.
the second time, I don't know if you can blame the food. I think it's him.
This has turned into a shit show.
He's like, I swear it was the Jimmy John's. Oh.
Garlic bread.
A
Yeah,
Reuben
so,
sandwich, though. A good Reuben? All right, do you guys prefer a Reuben or a French dip?
Reuben.
Reuben, yeah. French dip is hard. It's hard to make. I mean, I don't know of anybody who makes a decent French dip, honestly.
Yeah, you really can't get those at a fast food place.
For me, neither. I don't. I'll go pastrami.
Is it the
Yeah, I just-
sourdough bread? Is that what turned you off?
No, a Reuben is corned beef, right?
Yeah.
Sourdough
Yeah, so
bread,
like-
corned beef, and
I mean, I like
relish.
corned beef, but I like pastrami better. So if I'm gonna do a deli meat like that, and it's not gonna be ham or turkey or something traditional, it's gonna be like either a tongue, which I don't do, corned beef, or pastrami. I'm gonna go pastrami all day long.
All right. For you Reuben lovers, let me ask you this. Reuben or a Cuban sandwich?
Cuban.
Yeah. A good Cuban's
Give
hard
me
to
the
beat.
Reuben.
OC, pastrami or Cuban?
Well, a Cuban is ham, pork, and then pickles. Yeah, and
Swiss
mustard, right?
cheese. Yeah, Swiss cheese and mustard.
Yeah. I'm not a huge fan of Swiss cheese, so I would still go pastrami.
Oh, jeez.
You know who made a stupendous pastrami sandwich?
Cat's Deli.
You're gonna say Subway.
Exactly, Subway. Subway. It's a
No.
limited time offer, promotional. They only did it for like 3 months. Stupendous.
Do you guys put hot sauce on your sandwiches, like some Texas Pete?
No. Well, it
Oh,
depends
it's
on the
good.
sandwich.
It's good. Oof.
I mean, like, if it makes sense to put I mean, yes, but like to put it on every sandwich, no.
Dude, I put hot sauce in my spaghetti now.
Do you put hot sauce in your eggs?
Sometimes, yeah.
Yeah.
What was that sauce that you put on your egg taco earlier?
It was 2 different ones. The red one was Valentina, and the green one was like a green salsa with like avocado.
Mm.
Pretty good.
What's up this weekend, Diego? You doing anything? I mean, what'd you do today? And what's on the tap for tomorrow?
So today, the miss went with her mom, like a little mother-daughter thing. So she's hanging out there. So I just pretty much went to the gym, the pool. I cleaned. I brushed Vander. And then I went to the grocery store and got some stuff.
Did you do a stream earlier today? I can't remember. Before, like a morning stream.
Oh yeah. Yep.
Yeah, I remember you did a morning stream. I was busy doing something, and you said, "Oh, it looks like I got the day to myself," or something like that.
Yeah. And then I cooked dinner and I watched 3 episodes of Generation Kill. I'm watching that show again. I'm just getting ready for bed now. Tomorrow, who knows, man? Probably the same thing. Gym tan laundry.
That's right. GTL, man.
GTL. Oh man. What about you guys?
Yeah.
Mark's gonna have his stream tomorrow morning, right?
Yeah.
Logan Hall's video is going to be.
So
premiering.
Diego, I have shot my own scrambled eggs video, and Mark is going to play it tomorrow, and then he's going to compare that against your eggs and then America's eggs. So we'll find out who the real winner is.
Dude,
The
America's
Luchabetic Dungeon tomorrow morning.
America's eggs were so bad. Oh my God.
Like the moment he put the eggs in, they became dry.
It was like some chemical reaction towards the end because I was like, all right, yeah, they look good. And then all of a sudden, they just like separated. It was the weirdest thing. I'd never seen that happen before.
I think that once your cookware and your range and all that, like once you spend a certain amount of money, like there's something that like fucks up with your cooking. Kid obviously he has like the right gear, but I think the skill was lacking.
Yeah, they call that LARPing, right?
Exactly. Yes.
You get all the best gear, but you don't know how to use it. Sawdust eggs. That's what Curly called them.
I heard that.
I don't know. What about you, OC? You said you had a graduation party today.
Yep.
What's on the docket for Sunday?
Sunday is going to be a pool day.
Nice.
That's it as far as I know.
When does football start?
It's usually like late August, early September.
Oh my God. Are you serious?
Every year.
Fuck.
Elsie's pickle sub is a real Jersey sub.
Never heard of that one.
Yeah, what's a pickle sub? So it goes.
Are you guys you guys aren't too snooty to agree that Arby's is good, right?
Fuck no. Who the hell goes to Arby's?
I've never stepped foot in an Arby's, and the last time that I went through a drive-through was at least 10 years ago, maybe 15.
Wow. See, I guess you guys don't like roast beef sandwiches then.
I do, but no. Like getting that
I've-
is like.
Look, I've had Buckley took us to like the quote unquote best roast beef sandwich place in the world in Brooklyn. Arby's spanks them 10 times out of 10.
Is it the Arby's sauce though?
I think it's a combination of their bread. It's also the consistency of the meat. And yeah, the sauce is good. But Arby's has got it down. I don't know how you beat them.
Yeah, maybe when I was in college, I liked Arby's, but half the time I was shit faced anyways. So I mean, anything's good at that point. But
I'll tell you what,
no,
Meech.
it's not
Give
my.
it a try. I'll sell you like $20. Go get you a roast beef.
No, I'll take my roast beef at Carl's Jr. Thank you very much.
Carl's Jr. They have roast beef,
Yeah, they do.
but they don't have the buns.
Big hot ham and cheese.
They don't have those buns though. See, Arby's buns are like a little bit sweet.
Oh, fuck the buns, honestly. All I care about is the meat. That's the goal right there, right?
I don't know. I tell you what, going back to burgers, a bad bun can ruin a burger.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Easy.
I will usually do like a brioche bun.
Yeah, those are pretty good.
I just use 2 pieces of bread, white bread.
That's how it used to be though,
Wonder
Meech. That's the original burger.
Exactly. I keep it OG.
Which one of these
That,
do you
that's
do?
how I
You
did it back in my day.
So I would just get the. Let me see the one with cheese. The classic beef and cheddar. That's amazing.
I'll admit that one was really good. I remember having that at 2
Those are
morning.
so good.
Yeah, those go down good.
And
I regret them
Arby's.
in the morning.
Arby's back in the day when I was in college, they had a thing called 5 for $5. You want to talk about prices today compared to what they were back then?
Mhm.
You could get 5 items for $5.
Well,
So-
back then, Diego, the U.S. coin had just been minted as well, too. So I mean,
you could get a roast beef and cheddar. Obviously, it wasn't the big size. It was like the little mini size. You can get some curly fries, cheese sticks, a drink, and I don't know, chicken sandwich. It's fucking amazing. But yeah, this is actually I don't know what's on the top of the bread, OC. It's like some seasoning or something.
Onion.
baked in.
This is an onion bread. So it's
Yeah.
So those are onions.
Yeah. So the place that Buckley took us to is just like a standard like bun. Like none of that stuff.
If I
This
scroll
is
down
really
here, it
hard.
says
This is really
it's an
hard to
onion.
beat.
It's on an onion roll. Yep.
Yeah.
It
No,
actually
it's
kind
hard
of
to
looks
beat.
good.
looks depressing.
And then now the Arby's sauce is also in that little squeeze container
Yes.
that you
yeah.
can now, and you apply it bite by bite on the sandwich.
No, I'll typically rip the top bun off and just like put 2 packets in there. On top of the on whatever surface
Whatever
is
sandwich.
available.
Okay.
Yeah. And I'll just super good.
So this picture makes it look a lot fatter than it actually is. They don't use
No,
As
much
like,
meat as this.
smashed.
It's very
No.
yeah. It's,
So if you go to an Arby's that gives a fuck, like you can get stuff like this, yeah. But now they also have, if you go
Yeah.
back, they have like these extra large ones. I can't remember.
yeah, double roast beef.
Yeah, like that's when it gets a little crazy.
But every fast food restaurant advertises these fat, juicy, thick boy burgers, and then you get the actual result of it just being
So-
smashed.
So you know who got in trouble for that was Taco Bell. They got sued, and they lost. I think they lost. It was like some guy decided he was going to do like a lawsuit for like 1.4 million or something. because they advertise like just
Oh, full size burritos and stuff like that. Well, his first mistake was going to Taco Bell. He should have went to Taco John's.
yeah, and I tell you what, it worked because I went to Taco Bell. Shit, maybe 3 or 4 months ago, and it was like the food looked like it was ready for a commercial shoot. Like it was perfect.
Well, there's this thing going around right now where Chipotle got in a lot of trouble. Well, people are now videoing with their phone their experience at Chipotle because they felt like that they were in certain cities or whatever. Some of the restaurant operators were being very, very chintzy on the portions. Like you'd ask for, okay, chicken, you get a little tiny scoop of chicken. Beans, you get a little tiny spoon of beans. And so people started filming it. And so if you go on Instagram now, there's also spoof videos where you're videoing. It's like they take a giant thing of guacamole and put it on top, and a giant thing of sour cream and drop it on top, just because they know they're being videoed.
Right? I never found Chipotle to be that impressive. I thought it was the most mid lunch I've ever had.
It's not that
just
good.
for place for like people like Diego,
no,
bougie,
I don't
Starbucks
do that.
coffee, and have their avocado toast. Like I've never understood it.
Meech, as much as you think I'm a man of the people, I'm not down with that type of food, the Chipotle and the trendy and like the Instagram photos of your food. I really don't like Chipotle. I the last time I went there, they had their stupid commercial with the carne asada. It was like eating rubber tires. It was horrible.
I've had it for once. So somebody else actually paid for it once for me. They said, "Oh, we're all getting Chipotle," and I'm like, "Oh, I've never tried it before." I was like, "Oh, well, you're gonna love it." And like when I got done eating it, like 5 people came up to me and said, "Like, so what'd you think?" I'm like, "It was pretty mid. I'm not gonna lie." And people,
not a lot of flavor. There's a place here in Georgia. I don't know if they have it where you guys are. It's called
I've had better meals at the school cafeteria.
Qdoba. They do a much better job.
Yeah, Doba. Yeah.
Qdoba is
with a Q. Yeah.
Really good.
By the way, this is top of mind because I saw the CEO of Chipotle on Making the Rounds earlier today, part of a PR campaign, and here this article is from a couple of days ago. Chipotle insists its portions haven't shrunk after TikTokers claim they did. So there's like TikTokers going around, people videoing and putting on TikTok claiming that the portions are a lot smaller.
Dude, they definitely have.
I don't doubt that they haven't shrink the portions. Like a lot of restaurants have, like fast food, doesn't matter. But how many of those people probably need to have their portions reduced? If you catch my drift,
Yeah.
So I saw one of the spoofs, OC, where the guy's like,
yes,
he's like white rice, and he puts like just a little bit of rice. He's like, "Can I get a little more?" And the guy's like, "That'll be extra." He's like, "Really?" He's like, "Yeah." He's like, "I need more rice to like for the integrity of the burrito." And the guy goes, "I can roll any burrito." He's like, "Oh, okay. You know what? No rice." He's like, "All right." He's like, "Beans?" He's like,
"Oh, it goes for bean water and shit like that."
Yeah, he's like, "Just the bean water." And the guy's like, because here's this guy saying I could roll anything. So he's like, "Okay, bean water it is." He's like, "How about chicken steak?" He's like, "Let me get some steak juice." So towards the end, he's asking for like he goes like sour cream. He's like, "Just the liquid on the top." It ends up being this like disgustingly soggy tortilla, and he's like, "I want to see you roll it." And the guy's like, "I need some help over here." It was so fucking funny.
Let me see if I can find some good Instagram.
Oh, and then he goes, "Salsa?" He's like, "Yeah." And then the guy rolling, he goes, "Oh, thank God." Because like now he's got something to work with. He's like, "But just the juice." Let me see if I can send it to you.
Yeah. Send it in WhatsApp. Yeah, their portions are generally pretty big. Yo, we got AKB in the chat. What's up, AKB? We got a great panel here. We've got Diego, we've got Big Meech, and Logan Hall. If you want to be part of it, click on the link that's pinned and the pin that's linked.
I gotta see this.
Yeah, see
I
what
actually
else
found
there
it
is.
on YouTube. I'll put it in the private chat.
Let me see if I can do this.
Here.
Watch this one.
Oh my god,
That looks gross.
dude! You know, this reminds me.
See,
This
the thing is,
reminds me. Yeah. There's videos I've seen where people go to Subway and they just ask for, they're like, little more mayo, and then little more mayo, and it's like they've gone through like 2 bottles of mayo. Or there's one where the guy's like, can you toast it one more time? And like it ends up just being like charcoal.
yeah, you know, some of these are just contrived. Like, there's no
I've
way an employee would do this.
I've seen some real ones though where they're like white rice and then beans and then chicken, and when they show like the scoop of chicken, the guy's like, "Fuck this," and like just walks away.
Oh yeah. I saw that one. Yeah,
That
it's
one's-
called actually they're coining that like the Chipotle walkout.
Yeah. Oh, dude,
You-
kind of want to do that now. That's funny. The Chipotle walkout. I put that video in the private chat. It's kind of long though, but it is. I thought it was funny.
Let's see what we got here.
And white rice or brown rice?
White rice.
White rice, okay. You want black beans, pinto beans?
I'm sorry, man. Is there any chance I could get maybe like a little more rice?
Oh, sure. Why not?
Okay, cool.
And that's going to be $2 extra.
$2 for more rice?
That's just our policy, sir.
I'm just thinking you might need a little more rice, just like maybe hold the integrity of the burrito together.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure I could wrap anything up.
Who's making these policies? You know, like
Me.
you are.
Yeah. Sir, I'm the field leader of this Chipotle and several others in the area.
You're responsible for this.
I just came into the store today to check on things. But
That's just all.
I'm the field leader.
Black beans,
I'm
pinto
pretty
beans.
sure I can wrap anything up.
You happy to just serve you just for this one
Oh, joyous day.
meal? You know what? It's okay. No rice.
Okay, no rice.
Black beans.
Black beans.
But just the bean water.
What's up?
Just the bean water.
Okay. Bean water it is. You said chicken. You know what? Nah. I got a hankering for carnitas.
But just the liquid.
Is that cool? Oh yeah, I can wrap up anything.
I can wrap up anything.
Carnitas liquid coming up.
Double liquid, actually.
Double.
That's extra.
That's extra.
Corn, peppers, guac. Cheese, lettuce. Salsa.
Yeah, mild pico de gallo.
Sure, why not? Thank fucking God.
But just the watery bits.
Listen, I get you're frustrated about the portions and everything.
Sour
but
cream, please.
Why are you making the goddamn wettest burrito in the fucking world, sir?
Sour cream.
This is a businessman
Sour
with
cream.
inflation and shit like Skim the cream liquid off the top of the surface, field leader. You know what? Fine.
Yes.
Sour cream liquid. Salad dressing. Great idea.
Yes.
Salad dressing. Good. There you go. Oh, yeah. Golly, fuck.
Now wrap it up.
You know I'll just double wrap it.
Nah, I'm trying to watch my carbs. I'm on an all liquid diet.
Fine, I got this, no problem. Here we go. Come on. No problem.
Because you said you could wrap up anything.
I got this. Because this is all you. No center mass. Hold this shit. Hey, team, I need help in here, team. This is all you. Help. Help me. This is all you. Team, help me. Oh, shit, give me a fucking goddamn second. You're soggy, lopsided, hopeless. I can't pass it up. Stillborn burrito. Oh, God. Look at it. No, I won't look at it. Look at it. No, it's corporate. The higher ups, they're making us do this. Look at it. Oh God!
That's pretty much it. Then just goes on some like,
you think? Profit margin.
look at that shit.
Oh my gosh.
I like when he goes, salsa, and he's like, yeah. He's like, thank fucking God. He's like, just a liquid.
Just the watery bits.
And then he's like trying to roll. He's like, Jesus fuck. So funny. Good times.
Good times. Hey, good show, everyone. Good show.
It's late.
Oh, guys, we're gonna call it a night. Thanks, Big Meech, for jumping on. Thanks for Rose for jumping on earlier. Logan, looking forward to seeing your video tomorrow on Luchabetic Times.
Yeah.
Diego,
Yeah.
thanks for jumping on. Aaron, thanks for being with us. Let's we'll end with a little video. Love you guys. Peace out. Good night.
Peace, guys.
Hypnotize.